That's a good call.
It's not awful, yeah.
Good call.
So we've got deputies in Jefferson County, Colorado.
Oh.
They have
long lines
tried an unconventional method to deal with a wild intruder, a bobcat that had taken up temporary residence in a family's living room. Now, the animal had climbed onto a shelf near a television inside of a home in Ken Carl, part of the Denver metro area. When officers arrived on May 22nd, they decided to see if the tried-and-true feline favorite might work, the laser pointer. Now, Sheriff's Office shared the video footage on X, showing deputies pointing green laser sights from their tasers around the living room in an attempt to lure the bobcat off the shelf. Quote, "Well, I'm going to see if he chases the laser. I don't know. Cats like lasers. It's not a normal cat," the first deputy jokes back. "Cats are all the same. They are all like the same," another deputy jokes. The animal eventually left on its own through the back door, and Sheriff's Office went on to write, quote, "Guess some intruders just aren't dazzled by our high-tech tricks."
I mean, it's kind of a mean-looking cat, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are there any nice-looking cats?
No, I'm not a cat person.
I mean, as still as that cat's being, I would have sat down on the couch, turned on the television, and thought to myself, where the hell did Maggie buy that cat-looking statue?
Why do we have a stuffed cat?
Yeah. That is frightening.
That is frightening. Is this what Dunaway's about to buy right here?
Yeah, here we go. Move over, Gwyneth Paltrow. Sydney Sweeney's got a new way to bottle up her essence.
Not a big fan.
You're not a big fan?
Nope.
Wow. Turning bathwater into a beauty empire with a soap bar that's practically her in every bit of lather. Now, the Euphoria star has teamed up with Dr. Squatch Soap for her new soap called Bathwater Bliss. Limited edition bar soap is formulated with exfoliating?
Exfoliating.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
Sand and pine bark extract, as well as a splash of Sweeney soap that channels two of the best places on earth, the great outdoors, Sydney Sweeney's bathtub, according to this press release. Limited edition, only 5,000 bars available. Idea didn't just come out of nowhere. Sydney told GQ she noticed fans started begging her for her bathwater, and being the empowered sex symbol icon she is, took the opportunity to cash in.
I really thought she was selling her bathwater when this story first started. I thought it was going to be her bathwater.
I did too. Which you can keep replenishing the stock every day.
Well, if you take a bath every day.
Her press release says, "Hello, you dirty little boys. Are you interested in my body wash?" Question mark.
Yeah. Quick pause there.
I mean, I would say 1 to 10 or face 7, maybe an 8.
You give Sydney Sweeney an 8?
Yeah. And then I think your boobs can be too big.
Interesting. I did not think that would come out of your mouth.
Yeah, I really didn't.
Not as much too made of those, I think.
Okay.
I think they're pretty symmetrical. I think they dialed her back in the first season of White Lotus.
To the point I had to Google to make sure it was her.
Yeah.
Lance. I really did.
But she is very attractive.
Not for me.
Chris says, I need Dunaway to tell me who he approves of above Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, who's above the Sydney Sweeney?
I don't know.
Dunaway likes some weird stuff.
I don't know names, but I could give you a long list.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know names. I like the little assistant girl on Studio. She's fun. She has a good personality. She's
you
fun.
are kidding, right?
No, she's fun.
Steffi Graf, too. Don't forget that.
Oh, the two girls on the Studio are rough as corn cobs.
I enjoy personality, LT. Somebody's fun
to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand. Contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Live show now on a Monday, a new week, and we're into June now. Time flying by. 82 days away from the start of college football. Hard to believe we're in June.
Hard to believe we're in June. As I look at our monitor, I will never wear this shirt again on set.
We're getting a little striping. Yeah. That happens. So the stripes always happen that way.
Better there.
Yeah.
It is hard to believe that we are in June, but I saw over the weekend 99 days away from the regular season in football, or in the NFL, I should say.
Well, a little more than that. We talked about 100 days last week, so we were under 100 in the NFL and 82 for college. It's just flying, man.
Yeah, so we are literally a month away from SEC Media Days, and to me, that's when everything really kicks off.
Yeah, and we got July 31st for the NFL Hall of Fame game. NFL exhibition. We got amazing NFL news that has leaked out from the NFLPA. I'll test Lance later on whether or not he believes it's true and whether or not it'll happen in, we'll say, my lifetime coming up in the near future. Brownie's off today, back with us tomorrow. Tyler Melton Forrester in the back room, as always, EG, handling all of our reporting duties. And, of course, Taylor Korn starting year 4 with us. She finished 3 years yesterday, hired on June 1st back in the day. Tyler was an intern at one point. Taylor was an addition. So too was Melton and EG.
That's pretty impressive. You remember the hire day.
I don't know. We started celebrating it up here one time. We had a cake one day for her or something way back in the day. I can't remember. Forrester was a day one guy, right? Though Forrester, you were with us day one.
That is correct.
Yeah. So I don't have a Forrester anniversary date anywhere on my calendar there. But Tyler, how long were you an intern? Like officially an intern?
I was an intern for almost 2 years.
Okay, but the key word here was officially an intern. Like, how long did Auburn recognize you as an intern?
2 months.
2 months. And then he did the old, I enjoy this. I'm going to keep coming up here. And eventually it leads to the start of I hope, a long broadcasting career.
Persistency.
Yeah. One of our best interns of all time. We
Yeah.
rarely hired them, right?
No. I mean, if they stay long enough sometimes. That's what happened with Tyler.
I think Tyler just ended up like, did we hire him? And we should hire him. So glad to have Tyler with us today. Car problems for you? I'm dealing with it in my family. You had to go to the mechanic this morning?
Yeah, I had to get an oil change and then also need new brakes. So I had to leave my car there and Uber up here this morning.
I saw him get dropped off on the curb walking in, and I did notice this morning when he sent out the group text, mechanic. I mean, when do you hear mechanic? That's old school, isn't it?
Well, I used it recently. My we're deciding whether to keep it or dump my son's car. My buddy Brian's checking it out this morning. It's never a good decision there. Never a good decision. New car or different car.
No, I'm just saying, who uses the term mechanic?
I'll either say mechanic or shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I use mechanic. I think I call my buddy Brian mechanic. What do you call him?
Oh, I mean, I basically, my buddy's at Vulcan. I just say Vulcan, but I say shop.
Shop.
I mean, mechanic's is kind of the old school. What was the guy in Dukes of Hazzard, Cooter?
Yeah,
They just dropped their car at Cooter. He was the town mechanic.
Mechanic's the only thing I can think of call the guy that's going to fix my car.
Yeah.
Down to the shop. Yeah, that's old school. That's South. That's Southern, I think. Down to the shop. It's in the shop. It's in the shop. We'll hope it gets out later on. It doesn't sound like it's anything major.
I hope not. They said, they got to replace the front brakes, and I just got the quote on that. That's not fun.
Did it get down to what? Let's see if I have an old school saying here. My dad said, don't let it get down metal on metal. Don't let it get to I think it's called rudders or something.
Yeah, they said metal on metal.
Oh.
No, you can hear it.
Yeah, that's not good. You always get those brakes checked before that. So hope your life's good. Hope you had a great weekend. We're into June now as we move forward, and we're going to unveil our 40 and 40 team right here in segment number 1, because we'll talk a little bit later on to a guest about it, and it'll be part of our 4 Downs. It's always brought to you by our friends at Champions Boxing. And they are the folks that LT and his son spend a lot of time with lately.
Yeah, great place to just go and get a great workout in. Maybe you're sick of just throwing up weights, the traditional workout. You can get it from our friends at Champions Boxing. Boxing for fitness and competition, all ages, starting at 9 years old. A USA Boxing certified coaches, not only in boxing, but strength and conditioning as well. Coaches have experience, amateur, professional, and Olympic levels. Anyone looking for a workout different from just, going to the regular gym, champions could be perfect for you. Any former athletes looking to try another sport to compete in after high school and college, they are the official sports boxing coordinator for the 2025 World Police and Fire Games held right here in Birmingham this coming July. No pressure to spar, but if you do, 100% safe and controlled. Get and see Akash, Jake, the great guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Champions Boxing located in Pelham behind the Purple Onion.
All right, let's do it, Forrester. We're to 27 this week, 40 and 40 countdown, and obviously if we're starting in the first segment, it's got to be a pretty powerful brand, and that's the Auburn Tigers, voted on by you guys, sliding in just outside the top 25, ahead of USC at number 27. Here comes Auburn in, and dare I say, maybe a little too low for the Auburn Tigers.
Maybe. I bet last year I thought Auburn was going to be really improved in year two. I think Hugh helped us be sold on that with what he believed was going to be a better quarterback situation. I do think they've got a much better quarterback situation this year, going out in the portal, getting Jackson Arnold, a guy that really played with one hand tied behind his back last year, an offensive line that gave up over 50 sacks. Top 5 wide receivers were banged up the entire year, didn't have a quality running back. I think now coming in with the receivers they've gotten and what they've done in the portal, offense should be much improved, and it's got to be. Hugh Freeze, 11-14 in 2 years. The positives, 2024, you had a top 10 recruiting class. You finally get a ranked win over Texas A&M in 4 overtimes. But this is the year they've got to make a big jump, in my opinion. I think you get Georgia and Alabama both at home. Got to beat one of those two. Go back to year one. They lost those 2 games in Jordan-Hare by an average of 5 points per game. Last year, lost both games on the road by double digits by an average of 16 points per game. I think you got to get one of those games. I think for Auburn fans to be excited about the direction of the program, they've got to improve and at least go 8-4.
Offensive line should be better. They bring in 2 portal guys from Virginia Tech and USC that'll anchor the tackle position, and Connor Lew at center is one of the best in the SEC, so the offensive line looks to be good. But when you talk about the schedule, if you get by Baylor in the opener, to me it's a very manageable schedule, especially when you get Georgia and Alabama at home. After Baylor, Ball State, South Alabama. Now the tricky game's on the road at Oklahoma and Texas A&M, but if you're as good as some people think, you should win at least one of those games on the road.
Should, but, Auburn has not been good on the road at all under Hugh Freeze. They haven't been dominant at home, which is really surprising. Look, you're favored in your first 3 games. If they're going to have any type of a semi-special season, you got to start 3-0. And I think you've got to split the games between Oklahoma and Texas A&M on the road, and then you see what happens when Georgia comes to town.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because if you look at that schedule coming out of Georgia at Auburn, where does Auburn have to be, in your opinion, to be a playoff contender? Because for those listening to us on our audio platform, after October 11th, Georgia at Auburn, you get Missouri, who I think's down this year, on the road at Arkansas, home to Kentucky, at Vandy, Mercer, and then an Alabama game. What do they have to be record-wise after Georgia at Auburn for you to think they have a chance to make the college football playoffs?
For the college football playoff, maybe 5-1. 4-2 would do it, because you really could run the table in the second half of the season. It is the Iron Bullets in Jordan-Hare. Every time those 2 teams play in Jordan-Hare, it seems like it comes down to a final second. So I don't think anybody's going to be surprised if Auburn was to beat Alabama in that game.
So if they're 4-2 coming out of Georgia, Auburn,
still got a shot.
Still got a shot. If they're 5-1, you think they're in a really good spot to be a playoff contender going into that Iron Bowl game?
Yeah, at 5-1. I think you probably need to be 5-1, because what are the chances they're going to be able to be 4-2 and then run off 6 straight? There's still going to be a time, maybe this year, that a 3-loss team gets in. I just don't trust it until I see it.
Obviously, Jackson Arnold is a big key there. I want to go back, if I can, to our conversation, our Coca-Cola conversation with Hugh Freeze back at the Regions Tradition Golf Tournament. I'll need cut number 7, Tyler, if I could here.
The old 500 conversation?
Yeah, this is the bowl game conversation, because I want to play the question and the answer again, because I do believe a lot of Auburn folks, not all of them, some of them thought maybe this was taken a little out of context. But I want to give the question and the answer for those that maybe – what happens sometimes on social media is people read
but they don't listen to the clip. They read, but they don't listen. So I want you to listen to it and then tell me when we started talking 6-6 as a goal, if it was overplayed here. Some Auburn folks believe he was saying, making a bowl game, and that could mean 8 wins, 9 wins. But you listen, judge for yourself, and we'll talk a little bit more about what Hugh said about a month ago.
Going into this season, does it feel a little bit different? Do you feel like, hey, I've got to win X amount of games?
I'm not a fool. I think we've got to go to a bowl game, and I think our administration understands. Look, I inherited a program that didn't have a top 25 recruiting class for 4 years. You're not going to win in this league. We've had now 2 full recruiting classes, both top 10. I think one more, then your roster looks complete. But I'm still not naive. And we should have won some games last year that we could have won some games. I shouldn't say we should. We could have won some games last year. And we've got to find a way to make sure we're excellent in those areas that cost us those, that put us in a position to be at least bowl eligible, if not more. And I see no reason why we shouldn't do that. And I think that's an expectation that our people should expect. And I don't sit around feeling like that puts a lot of pressure on me. Look, I'm blessed. And I'm blessed to be at one of the greatest universities, to live in one of the greatest towns, to work for some of the greatest people, and our administration's awesome. My family, I have all 3 daughters there and grandkids. So, whatever the outcome of all of that is, that will be okay. Obviously, I'm a competitor, and I want to deliver to the Auburn people, and it's time for us to start doing that.
I don't know how that can be out of context.
Yeah, I wanted to play it unedited. I think some people read it and didn't, read a
I heard
snippet of it.
we were Bama homers, and we were trying to stir this thing up. It was a simple question. He answered it by saying, I'm not stupid. We've got to go to a bowl game.
Yeah.
Bowl game's 500.
Yeah, but that's we got to go to a bowl game. To play the other side, you can go to a bowl game with 8 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins.
I still, if I'm Hugh, in year 3, first of all, he throws Horson under the bus too. Well, I don't remember Kirk Signetti really throwing, I don't even know who the Indiana coach was before, Tom Allen. I don't remember him throwing him under the bus. Indiana in the Big Ten was able to do it year 1 without these great recruiting classes. I just don't think you need to make excuses with the money you're being paid after 2 full years. And that's exactly what that was.
So Hugh Freeze now with year number 3, a schedule that starts off with what did you say, about 2.5-point Auburn favorite?
Right now, Auburn is listed at 2.5, a total of 50.5 over Baylor on the road in Waco.
Yeah, so that's a tough opener compared to a lot of people's openers. It's a tough road game opener. And then you settle in with 2 SEC road games before you get the big one with Georgia in early October.
I'm telling you, we come in here Labor Day and Auburn has lost to Baylor. The theme is going to be, this is not going to work. And I'm not saying that's fair, because you still could flip this thing around and have a 10-2 season, because I think Baylor is going to be one of the better teams in the Big 12 this year. And that's a tough road game, but that is going to be the narrative if Hugh loses that game. Speaking
of one of the better parts of this Auburn team, the pickup they did with Georgia Tech's Eric Singleton, maybe one of the biggest portal pickups. Jackson Arnold, obviously, at quarterback was big for them. They've got to get better quarterback play. They hope they have that in Arnold. But Singleton becomes a guy that could be the X factor on that offense in a very talented wide receiver room.
Yeah, when you look at Coleman and Thompson and Simmons, and then you bring in Singleton, a guy that has proven, that has gotten it done, and such a versatile weapon for Georgia Tech over the last couple of years. You mentioned Mason Murphy, Xavier Chaplin, tackles that are going to come in, probably start immediately, and obviously Jackson Arnold. But Singleton could be the difference maker. When you talk about just a weapon you can line up anywhere on the field.
Landmine Believer preaching the gospel, LT, this morning. Others jumping in. A lot of you talking about this Auburn team poised with a good roster in that schedule. Final Four Troy, he's not saying the goal was 6-6. Y'all completely overblew that. We just played it for you, Troy, however you want to pull that out.
What did you think?
You can go to a bowl game with 8-9 wins, but the way he answered your question, we put the question in there, it sounded to me like 6-6 is the minimum, not the goal.
No,
but the minimum.
But I would say that, don't even bring up the minimum. You're in year 3. If I'm Hugh Freeze, hey, look, our goal is to win the SEC. If we win the SEC, everything's on the table.
But in fairness, now you don't when you most coaches don't give you realistic comments like that. They don't set the standard too high for them.
Okay, so I would like to at some point, we don't want to put too much on Scott, but I want to go back when we were at the Auburn facilities last March, because we asked him about elite coaches going into year 2, is the expectation to win a championship? And I think in year 2 he said, yeah. I don't remember exactly, but I remember asking the question directly to him, and I think he talked about, yes, we should be much improved in year 2.
We'll talk more about Auburn in our 40 and 40 countdown. Kyle Rush joins us from our Auburn site, thebarnauburn.com. He is the host of the Top Button podcast. Kyle will be with us in 45 minutes to talk more Auburn football in our 40 and 40 countdown. Another sport at Auburn in just a second after we tell you about a couple of our great sponsors. That includes Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys, a national firm with Southern roots right there, our friend Alexander Shunnarah, headquartered right here in Birmingham, Alabama. 24 years, the firm has grown to over 150 lawyers, supported by over 500 dedicated team members. Their elite trial lawyers have recovered over $2 billion by maintaining Alexander's core values of integrity, mastery, passion, and success. Alexander's mission, to create a firm that could handle any issue that his community faced. The firm now handles not only any personal injury claim, but claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' comp, and a host of other claims. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer for anything, call Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Also by our friends at Odie's.
Odie's Tavern, great place to go for lunch today, for dinner. Every Wednesday night, me and Brown will be out there for Odie's Team Trivia, live music every Friday and Saturday. Rodney Davis doing the incredible food, almost 4 decades now. Award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches like the Diablo sandwich. Get in, enjoy those beer buckets full of the ice-cold Bud Light. 2 locations, the newest in Edgewood, original in Crestline, Birmingham Institution. It's Odie's Tavern. Can I ask you true or false?
Okay.
Better spot right now in the SEC, Shane Beamer in South Carolina or Hugh Freeze in Auburn?
You're asking me whose trajectory I like better?
No, who's at a better spot right now? Who has done a better job with their program?
But I think you're inheriting different things. So you always
think South Carolina, you think there was a better situation at South Carolina than Auburn?
Than what Auburn was when Brian Harsin left? Absolutely.
I don't know if you can say that.
It's been a long time since Auburn's had an SEC roster, in my opinion. They haven't had the talent at their 22s, forget their 44s. They've had an offensive line that has not been SEC quality. They haven't had good quarterback play since Bo left. And then even then, it was a misfit with the talent around him. They didn't surround him with enough wide receiver talent, enough offensive line talent for him to be successul like he was at Oregon.
I think after 1 year, I'll give you the pass. In year 2, you've got to be able to make the adjustments.
Not when you're that deep in a hole. I mean,
Indiana wasn't?
Indiana had a different schedule, Lance. They had a different schedule.
It's still the Big Ten.
But Auburn would have been 9-3, 10-2 with that schedule, 100%.
Okay, well, they were 11-1, so a little bit different.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is South Carolina's at a better spot right now. Is Missouri and Eli Drinkwitz?
Right now, you tell me the next 3 years, Auburn wins more football games than South Carolina does the next 3 years.
They should. I don't know if they do, though.
Yeah. Auburn may win more football games. In fact, I believe Auburn wins more football games this year than South Carolina does.
Just to let you know, Will Muschamp, his final 2 years was 6-16. That's what Shane Beamer took over.
What do you know about Will Muschamp? Does he recruit well? Is he a good recruiter?
I don't know.
That's his MO.
He was supposed to be the next Saban. That's what everybody said.
His MO is a good recruiter. Brian Harsin, not a good recruiter. Gus Malzahn, the last 2 years he was there, not a good recruiter. But different.
What about Eli Drinkwitz though? Better spot?
I don't think Eli Drinkwitz is in a better spot. I wouldn't. You asking me would I rather have Hugh Freeze in Auburn or Eli Drinkwitz in Missouri moving forward from where they are right now? I'd rather have Auburn.
This year is critical for Hugh.
Oh.
If it's not 8-4 with a win over either Georgia or Alabama at home, I think it's a very, very disappointing season.
So you're saying 8-4 with a win over Alabama or Georgia? I don't think you can judge yourself always by beating 2 of the top 4 teams in the country. I think you're setting yourself up to always fire your coach if that's your expectation.
No, but if you were able to play those teams within a possession in year 1, and then it goes backwards in year 2, and then you get swept again, and you're 0-6 against your 2 biggest rivals, that's a problem.
I think it's a little different, though, when you're playing at home and away. So,
well, he's got them at home this year.
He does. Yeah. He does.
That's what I'm saying. You got to win one of those.
Well, does Ryan Day, who's a national championship coach, does he have to beat Michigan?
Well, no, because he just won a national championship.
Yeah, but he had lost 4 straight,
I mean,
right?
well, he's going to get a lot of shit if he doesn't.
He's lost 4 straight, and he's a pretty good coach. In a pretty good situation, right?
But again, he won a national championship. He's winning all his other games.
Yeah.
Hugh's losing games to everybody.
Yeah. Well, if you're the AD, what's the number where you would fire Hugh Freeze?
I'm not saying I would. I like Hugh Freeze. I think I was the biggest backer of Hugh Freeze. Comments like that would really upset me if I was an Auburn fan with the money you were paying Hugh Freeze. That's all I'm saying. What is the number? I think 6-6, 7-5. I think he's out. Don't want to see that. I think they're 8-4, 9-3 this year. So I think he will survive.
By the way, if they're 8-4, 9-3, that'll be more wins than South Carolina and Missouri.
Maybe.
The 2 programs you just brought up to me.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, South Carolina won 9 last year. Missouri won 10. They're in better spots right now.
Yeah, but
But they are. I mean, you can't even argue that.
If they don't win as many games as Hugh does this year, then they're not in better spots. Then they've taken a step back.
But that's the future. I'm just talking about in the here and now. Yeah. Eli and Shane Beamer have done better jobs than Hugh.
But in the process of building, that's not what you asked me. Who's in a better spot?
Yeah, but right now they're in a better spot right now.
I don't believe so. I believe the Auburn football program will be better than the South Carolina and Missouri football programs this year.
Well, that's predicting they're going to be better. I'm talking about right now, coming off 9 wins and 10 wins, South Carolina and Missouri are in better spots.
We'll talk more with Kyle Rush, who's on top of the Auburn program, coming up at 10 o'clock. Hour number 2, 10 o'clock Central, in a little bit. Baseball over the weekend, chaos everywhere. For the first time since we went to this super regional format in 1999, the number 1 overall seed, national seed Vandy, got eliminated. But wait, there's more. The number 2 overall national seed, Texas, got eliminated. That means the top 2 teams by seeding that's left are Arkansas at 3 and Auburn at number 4. And they get to host this weekend, both of them advancing out of their regionals. Here's Butch Thompson, head coach of the Auburn Tigers, after they cruised past NC State in a couple of games to, well, they beat NC State, they beat Stetson, they beat Central Connecticut State, had a chance to play everybody in this regional, and now Auburn gets Coastal Carolina in a best of 3 to go to Omaha. Here's Butch.
Early in the year, I was wanting more, and I would say maybe like I want more offense, or like I'm not totally satisfied. And then I'd go back to them like, I believe in you now, but there's more. There's more to be had. There's more that you can do. We need to keep pushing toward that. And I think they stayed after it. And I think they played enough baseball where it just felt like early we'd have a moment, and then it'd be a little slow and have a moment. And consistency is the key. Somebody's going to be hot. And this Coastal Carolina team, have they won 21 games in a row or something? Are they north of 50 wins? I mean, we'll start spreading that narrative of, you better be ready, and we better prepare, and we better keep trying to stay consistent. We'll be doing that tomorrow because we're playing the hottest team in college baseball. We'll be coming in here, and super neat, like I said, to host the first super regional in our program's history. But we're down to 1 team that's in our way of going back to Omaha.
Yeah, so 1 team, best of 3 series with Coastal Carolina and Auburn getting to host for the first time ever. That Coastal Carolina team, they come in with a little fire in their stomach. Not only have they won more than 50 games, LT, there was controversy at their regional this weekend. Remember Florida head coach Kevin O'Sullivan?
Oh yeah.
He's had some issues. He's won national championships, but he's a fiery guy. Let me set the stage for us before we run some video here and some sound. Kevin O'Sullivan's team was in the losers bracket, and they were going to play the loser of East Carolina and Coastal, who was playing on Saturday night. That game went, first pitch was until after 7, went deep into the night. So when Kevin O'Sullivan shows up at the ballpark the next day, he's told that the start time has been moved from 12:06 Eastern to 1:06 Eastern, moving it back an hour because the game the night before went longer.
I think most people would understand that.
Yeah, he was upset a little bit because that's an extra hour rest for the guys that had to play late. He thought it was an advantage. I don't think he handled it very calmly. This is him talking to a couple of the NCAA reps on site there. Audio is really too intense for us to play, right, Forrester? It's F-bomb city there.
Yeah, there's a couple F-bombs.
Yeah. It continued once they got onto the field after being told about the 1 hour delay.
Wouldn't you be uncomfortable filming? Like, there's cell phones everywhere. In every situation, somebody's filming. I would be nervous about just holding a cell phone up in a situation like that.
Well, I will tell you that.
Oh, heck no, man.
Yak U Baseball, I went and checked them. They have 3 followers, and their 3 tweets are all about this. So I would say the person that recorded this didn't want it to be known who recorded
this.
Okay,
the one thing you got to do if you're going to bitch and argue this much is go out and win the game. Don't get dick whipped. And it wasn't even close. Like, you think the hour was the difference in losing by 7 runs?
No, that's what I was waiting to see. Was it like, now they may have showed up to the ballpark and nobody told them. That would make me mad. I don't know that to be the case. But this is the video already on the field now. And I don't know if this is still an NCAA rep or if it's a grounds crew guy or what, but just look at him. It's a better video of how he's approaching this.
That is bad energy for that entire team.
Yeah, look at the player. Your players are watching it too.
Yeah.
And
I mean, easy to say now because they got bounced by East Carolina, but that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Let's go cut 6 first, Tyler. This is head coach Kevin O'Sullivan. He gets asked by WNCT Television, Channel 9 up there, about being upset and being caught on tape by a couple of different folks. Really expressing himself to the NCAA and Coastal Carolina host folks here. Here's the Florida head coach.
Coach, could you address the situation before the game?
I don't want to address that right now.
Nothing there, apology or anything like that?
I handled it properly. Yeah.
You handled it?
At the end of the game, yes.
He handled it properly at the end of the game. So does that mean he apologized?
I don't think he did, Dunaway. Boy, he looks pissed. That's one of those things. I don't know what you do in that situation because you just got embarrassed, after laying it down like that.
Cut number 5 is the head coach of Coastal Carolina, Kevin Schnall, who is bringing his team to play Auburn this weekend. This is from ABC 15 Sports. Unasked before he gets ready to walk off the podium. Remember, his team is just the host. They didn't play in that game against East Carolina and Florida. So he wants to bring this up after all the questions. His team have won. They've got this long win streak. They're going to go to Auburn this weekend with a chance to go to Omaha, Little Conway, South Carolina, hosting a regional. And the Coastal head coach has one more thing to say before he leaves.
One last thing I have is I have to say this, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but I believe in standing up for what's right. And what transpired this morning on our field, another coach disrespected our associate AD, who works as hard as anybody in our entire program. He disrespected our field crew, who are the salt of the earth. These guys would do anything for our program. It's not okay. And this needs to be brought up. Absolutely disrespectful. As a coach, it's our job to mentor young kids. And the way he treated the 2 site reps, the way he treated our associate AD, the way he treated our field crew is absolutely unacceptable. And that's what I'm most disappointed about. This is a national champion coach who thinks he can come in here and try to bully people around. Disappointed. Disappointed, somebody that a lot of coaches look up to. For him to act that way, really disappointed.
When he says a lot of coaches look up to, that usually means he doesn't.
Yeah. I love that he called him out like that.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they got their ass whipped. But you can see how passionate. But, I mean, that is, it's one of those things. You come into it, the time has been moved. First pitch has been backed up an hour. If you're going to bitch and complain about it, maybe quickly do it, and then it's set. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. So, like, you teach your team, you talk to guys about adversity. Guy gets suspended. Guy's parent dies and they have to leave the team. You talk about rallying together. Look, hey, they're giving. They're stacking the deck against us. They're getting another hour. Use that to your advantage.
2 questions from the chat room here. Morgan in Louisville. Thanks for listening, Morgan, up there in the great state of Kentucky. Fines coming from the SEC. You think the SEC fines him?
Yep, I think so. I just think for behavior detrimental to the program, I don't know exactly how you size that up, but for his comments to come out and people like us are talking about this today, absolutely he will get fined.
Charles wants to know, should he be fired or fined by Florida? Should Scott Strickland, the AD, say something to him?
I would be embarrassed. Yeah. Scott Strickland, I'm sure we'll have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
This is, as you said, this is a guy that's won a national championship. So he's got a lot of weight. But at the same time, you can't embarrass your program like that.
That is a very spirited regional that continues today. I mentioned the top 2, Vandy and Texas, being eliminated. Alabama, as a 2 seed, was eliminated 2 and done in Hattiesburg. But that series continues. Miami and Southern Miss today. Winner goes to the regional. But there are other big seeds that are in trouble of getting knocked out. LSU has to beat Little Rock tonight at 8 o'clock or they get bounced. Tennessee, defending national champs, has to beat Wake Forest today or they get bounced. Oregon State has to beat USC today or they get bounced. And North Carolina's got to beat Oklahoma today or they get bounced. Same with Ole Miss and Missouri. All those elimination games today, there's a chance that Arkansas and Auburn are the two favorites going into the weekend to win the College World Series.
Yeah, they will be, more than likely. As you said, with what happened to Vanderbilt and Texas, just absolutely insane. And both of those teams to lose to Wright State and UTSA.
We've got a lot of college football to get to on the show. Auburn's our preview team today. Kyle Rush on that. But other stuff happening in college football when we come back, plus NFL news that is absolutely mind-boggling to think of this happening. But when the NFL Players Union is starting to talk about it, then it's something to put on your radar. All that to come today. The show being brought to you by a couple of great folks, including our friends at Company Distilling, one of LT's new friends, the companies that we are introducing you to here last week on the show, and they're here at ABC stores all over the state now.
Yeah, look, we invite you to watch that Bama and Bourbon that we did about
a week ago.
What day was that? Yeah, well, about a week ago. You can learn a lot more about the Company Distilling. Just a fantastic product. It is available ABC stores throughout the state right now. You want a bourbon as good as the company you keep? Company Distilling is at that. 21 plus. Please drink responsibly. But stop in and see our fine folks at Company Distilling. You're going to absolutely love it. Great bourbon. Big news. Company Distilling now available throughout the state. Find your bottle. Learn more. CompanyDistilling.com/Alabama. Not only Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, South Carolina. Available in 9 states now. It's Company Distilling.
And our friends at Johnson RV Center. It's time to get camping in the all-new Wolf Pup 16 LP for only $129 a month. How about that? The weather's been fantastic with approved credit, $129 a month. You can get the Wolf Pup and hit the camping trails this spring and summer. Check out the latest from some of the nation's top-selling RVs with Johnson RV Center. Also, RV warranty forever with our friends at Johnson. It allows you to have a lifetime warranty on all the new RVs and any qualifying used RV that they have on the lot. 2 great locations, I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, and also 334 in Decatur, just off I-65 at exit 334. So Coleman and Decatur locations, you can always check them out online at johnstonrvcenter.com, johnstonrvcenter.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
You
could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Hey, you. Days warming up. Looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham. We got now.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama-born, Alabama-raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Okay, Auburn number 27 in our 40 and 40 countdown. LT got the Auburn-Alabama rivalry going in the chat room, back and forth over there. We appreciate all the comments and all the people who watch us every day on YouTube and all of our video platforms. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Right now, some new merch in the Next Round store, nextround.store, nextround.store. Tell them about the summer colors for Father's Day.
Yeah, you know, we kind of did this in homage to our favorite NFL teams. We've got the creamsicle in white for Dunaway. We've got the aquamarine in orange for Brown, and we've got the, there it is. Look at that blue and yellow popping for the Rams. There are all the new colors. Great Father's Day gift. So Father's Day, if you can't figure out what Dad wants, he wants new merch from the Next Round store. Check it out. Look at Scotty's Carolina Blue. Mine shrank up a little bit this weekend, so I don't have the physique to wear my Carolina Blue anymore.
Yeah,
gotta go up in a size.
Yeah,
there's that creamsicle.
I've got to get a new one anyway. I handed back my XL for a large and realized I was not a large. In my head, I thought I was a large.
Yeah,
I was not.
I was a large until the wash. And once the shirt dried, I'm an XL.
Yeah, I need the XL, but I'll have to know somebody to buy it at the nextround.store for me.
Yeah, nextround.store. We got a special promo code in there. Father's Day, great place to shop. Order some of that new merch. You're going to love it. We will have the hats come in this week. We'll have those on the set. We'll give you more information about that. You said the chat room was up in arms. Auburn fans are agreeing with me, right?
No, I mean, some Auburn fans are defending their program. Some agree with you. We've got the clip in just a second. Let me do a little business here first. Let's go. Let's first of all address the fact that the shirt is a little tighter than I thought. The reason I felt like it was a large is because of my friends at Way to Wellness. I'm at a cool 172.5 today. I mean, I ate so much Mexican food over the weekend and still didn't gain but 1.5 pounds. That's just the program I'm on with our friends at Way to Wellness, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. No cookie cutter plan. Every plan is different. If you are into the injection therapy, Leslie, her board certified team, they have that. Meal replacements where you can get whole meals from them. They've got that for you as well. I use these protein bars. I have one for breakfast. I have one for a snack. I have a healthy lunch, another protein bar in between lunch and dinner. A fourth one if I need it. Oftentimes I don't need it. Sometimes I save it for dessert after a healthy dinner at night. It works for me. It can work for you. A variety of different things with no contracts, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation's free. Just see more details at the website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Just to recap what you said in the first segment, we sort of replayed what Hugh said on the 6 and 6. The bowl comment he made it at the Regions. You said that's really different from what he said when we were on campus with him going into year 2.
I think, we went to the facilities. We talked to everybody from the horse trainer to the softball player. But Hugh was up there, and I remember specifically asking him about the jump from year 1 to year 2. I could be a little wrong here. Yeah. I was paraphrasing. We'll see what he says.
Okay, here's the Forrester quickly digging this up from our trip. Not this summer, but last summer down on campus. And listen to how optimistic Hugh Freeze was going into the second season at Auburn.
You've had, obviously, success in this league before at Ole Miss. And, we were talking to Luke and Peyton earlier, and I was talking about coaches, elite coaches in year 2. Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Kirby Smart, they make that big jump. Mm-hmm. And I would assume you're kind of expecting now that if you can ever manage a roster in today's NIL world, but I would assume you expect a jump from year 1 to year 2.
I think through all of that stuff, and I try to think back to the journey we had at Ole Miss, and we went from 7 to 8 to 9 to 10, and so you do expect. When you take a job like this at a place like Auburn, you do expect to improve. You just hit on the thing that wakes up and haunts you is, used to you recruited a class, and I knew, our first full recruiting class at Ole Miss, I knew we were on to something, and that our environment was attractive, and these kids could help change the program if you could just back it up with some following classes, which we were able to do. And I think recruiting, we've proved we can do that here, a top 7-6 class in year 1, and we're off to a great start in 25. But retaining them, I didn't have to do that as much, and so I think that is the biggest question mark you have as far as how fast, and the guys you mentioned, I don't think had to deal with that. Taking over a program that many would say was down considerably compared to what its proud history is, and so I think that's the unknown. Do we expect improvement? Of course, absolutely. What does that look like in the win-loss column? I don't know. That's hard for me to quantify, but certainly anticipate us improving.
Yeah. So. He was talking about the roster, and his Love the Blue points out Auburn did have 36 players from the recruiting classes before them hit the portal. There was some open doors there. So he was having to rebuild differently than some other places had to rebuild.
No, I get it. But, year 2 last year, not only for Hugh, but for Deion Sanders. How did Deion do in year 2? Went from 4 to 9 wins.
He did. Again, not in the SEC, but yes.
Okay, Kenny Dillingham from 3 wins to 11 wins, college football playoff.
Yes.
I'm just saying, like, you should be able to rebuild at Auburn as quick as these other programs.
Hugh will try to do that in year 3. We'll talk to Kyle about that coming up at the top of the hour. One other thing I want to get to in this segment, but first, while we were talking about gear and stuff, just a great last few days of you folks sending in pictures to us, and we're so blessed since day one. We never thought that you guys would buy the gear and wear it like you do. Nextround.store for the new gear. Forrester, let's run through some hopeful Auburn fans. Speaking of hoping Auburn wins more, hopeful Auburn fan sent some gear over from Venice. He was in Venice and wearing the gear. Here he is with his beautiful wife and the canals in Venice.
That's nice.
How about that?
Yeah, I know somebody else that is in Italy right now. Always wanted to go.
Yep. And Joe, who's a big listener.
That's an old school hat, by the way.
Yep. It's available, always available in the store. Joe, Knicks T-shirt on and a Next Round hat on as he sits there getting ready for the Knicks. Sorry, Joe. He sent that before the game. They got eliminated. He's on the lakes over there in the boat. We appreciate the picture, though. Our buddy Jace took his wife and his kids on a tour of baseball parks up in the Northeast and in Canada. This is Jace at the Sky Dome with his wife, Molly, with a Next Round cooler. And
Former
a nice
intern.
Mick Ultra right there. Molly's not an intern.
No, I'm saying she was a former intern, right? Or was it a friend?
No, he dated a former intern at one point.
Okay.
Molly he met on Tinder. Too much information? No.
Wow. You officiate the wedding?
The Sky Dome there. No, Jason and I are buddies there. He also went to Comerica and showed off that koozie. They're going to Comerica. So he got to tour around to a couple of ballparks. What a great wife that says, okay, family trip, let's go drink beers at the ballpark.
It's a hot Tigers team as well.
And then Nathan sent us this from Mall of America. Outside of that, up in Minneapolis, rolling around in the Next Round sweatshirt up there just less than 2 weeks ago, about 10 days ago.
I'll tell you, if you want to see some Next Round gear, go to Herbie's spot on the landing at Parker Creek.
Yep.
You know, it was just random. I'm sitting there, and a guy walks by with a Next Round hat, and I'm like, hey, man, I love your hat. And he turns around. I listen to you guys every day.
Yeah.
But you'll see, like, literally 4 or 5 people. There's always a ton of people down there, but there is a ton of Next Round gear down there.
Here is what is being thrown out by the NFLPA. It involves expansion. And I'll tell you exactly what that is right after LT tells you about our friends at New York Butcher Shop.
New York Butcher Shop, stop in, go see Jim and the fine folks. I did it Saturday. I went, Jim was actually at the Cabo Heights location. I went Highway 119 in Greystone. I went and saw Art. He's just got incredible butchers all over the place. I got 3 of the prime fillets, picked up some of the mashed potatoes with the goat cheese. The boys absolutely love the steaks, fresh meat, specialty items, catering available, fine selection of great wines and desserts. It's a one-stop dinner shop, 2 locations, rare quality, well-done service. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
Okay, so here is what the NFLPA is saying we should be preparing for. They, according to sources, are preparing their membership, the NFL players, for in the near future, not 1 expansion team, not 2 expansion teams, not 3 expansion teams, but 4 expansion teams, all based in Europe, a European division. Now, if you're noticing in Europe this year, we play games in Madrid, London, Berlin, and Dublin, which would be a great place to put 4 franchises, I guess. They've been testing those markets out. We'll do it again this year. It doesn't seem to be in the immediate future, but it does appear that the NFLPA, the union, is preparing its players for expansion coming up in the future over into Europe. And all the pitfalls that could come with, but all the extra revenue that could come from that too, as we approach another collective bargaining agreement between the NFL and the Players Union. This will be on the table. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I assume you saw, because it was a great 80s film, Wall Street, where Gordon Gekko, Michael Douglas said greed is good. I don't think everybody agrees with that. But this is it's more of a cash grab. And you talked about the money it can generate from these other markets. As a consumer of the NFL, though, in North America, do you really want to be watching games at 7:30, 8:30 in the morning? Do you really think it's good if a team is traveling over there? And probably what they'll do, let's say the Bills go over there and they go on like a 2-city tour and they're in Europe for like a month. I wonder what the end result's going to be for teams that are going over there and then coming back.
Well, by putting a whole division over there, what you do is it gives you 6 games on each schedule. You don't have to leave your time zone, your continent. It allows you, like you said, every year one division plays another division. You get 2 out-of-conference divisions, right, that you play?
Yes.
Okay, so NFC South, AFC South. They'll have to go over there to Europe. Would it be better for you to fly over there twice to play 2 games at 2 different parts of the season, or fly over once and play all 4?
I don't know. We'll see.
You're not going to play a road game in all 4. You only play 2 on the road, 2 at home. So,
but it's still going to Europe either once or twice. I think
it would be 1 trip over, and you'd play back-to-back road games against that division.
And you're going to be over there for a long time then. You got to get back, get acclimated. I think most people that go to Europe for that 1 game a year talk about, just the grind it is on the rest of the season. And I don't have what those numbers are for the teams. They typically have the bye coming back or a longer week. I don't know what the numbers are on wins and losses, but I guarantee it affects.
It creates a new TV window for us. If you've got a whole division over there, then you've got regularly played games happening every Sunday at that time, Sunday morning. It's a whole new TV window.
Yeah, but how many people are really going to get it? Like, are sports bars going to be open at 7:30 in the morning now?
They do some do for soccer, for European soccer, to watch that.
I mean, I know of one place that you can go watch that.
There's a few here, but in big cities, there are a lot of them.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't have an appetite. Look, and I'm one of those, I love getting on the couch for 14, 15 straight hours. I don't have an appetite for getting up at 7:30 in the morning and watching it.
Now, some of those games would be Madrid versus London, and Dublin versus Berlin, and then it would flip around. But we're not talking like it's a spring league. These would be professional football players.
Yeah.
They would be NFL players.
I get it. I just don't think you need expansion.
The pitfall would be the watering down. Now you got 4 more rosters, so the quality of teams drop down a little bit.
Got to find 4 more quarterbacks.
4 more quarterbacks. And then we talk about this a lot, I think, in baseball, of the Toronto Blue Jays having to deal with this. Montreal, before the Expos went away, had to deal with it. The NBA with the Raptors and the Grizzlies, before they went away, had to deal with it. The Raptors still do. There are some players that don't want to go to those markets as free agents.
Oh, I'm watching Davante Adams right now, who signed with the Rams. Do you think Davante Adams would even entertain? And look, I don't know him. He's got a Taco Bell in his house. But do you think he would really entertain going over and playing in Europe? Why would you when you can demand just as much and stay in the States?
It does feel like we're getting 4 European World League of American Football franchises if they went this route.
I just think it's kind of hokey. Again, it's always about the bottom line. The NFL, much like you hear about McDonald's scouting locations to put up a new restaurant, I mean, they know going in they're going to be successful. So if the NFL does this, it's going to generate more money. It's going to generate more eyeballs. And, it's going to ultimately, I guess, be good for the league. I just don't know if it's good for the consumer.
If it's its own division, though, LT, that we've already got it perfectly laid out with 4 divisions in each conference, right? So if we add 1 division there, or we have to add a whole division in South America, in Mexico?
Yeah, we finally do have it balanced, because you remember back in the old NFC North division, as Chris Berman called it, you had like 5 teams, and you had
some had 4 in the West.
Yeah, 4 in the West.
Yeah,
and now you've got an even 4 per conference with four teams in each division.
Yeah. A Rams European tour would ruin LT's Saturday nights for a month.
Not as much fun as they used to be.
When you get up on Sunday morning, it's that's an early start. What, those kick at 8:30?
Yeah, kick at 8:30.
I wasn't out of the rack at 8:30 this Sunday morning.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of those early games.
Unless I have to be at 8:30 service for some other reason. I'm an 11 o'clock service guy, and I'm not. I think I woke up at 9:45 this Sunday morning.
I think the way you would have to do this, so, we're 7 hours behind London? You would just have to start setting up primetime games for those teams. and therefore then it would be a normal noon kick here.
NFL doesn't need expansion. There's not a single NFL player that wants to live in another country, from Rusty in the chat room.
I agree with Rusty.
Yeah.
I mean, look, a guy that's not going to make a team, one of the last guys cut off a 53-man roster, would they rather play in one of these markets? Yeah. But it's going to be really difficult, back to your point about free agents, going and getting one of those guys to come out and sign with one of these teams.
Jay Bake wants to know, maybe you know the answer to this, what are the NFL ratings for those European games that run on Sunday morning? They have to be way off the normal one.
I think they are. I don't know for sure. Brown's kind of our ratings guy, but yeah, I think the numbers are always down.
Appreciate your comments there. Before LT tells us about Michelson and we get to the viewing menu, Kyle Rush at the top of the hour, our friends at New Life Art getting you ready for another year of great sports moments. They've got a new basketball one out that includes Mark Sears dropping a dime at the end of a buzzer beater down at, Neville Arena, Auburn Arena down in Auburn, and a big overtime win at the end of the regular season. You can get that. It's called Buzzer Beater. That's part of a Daniel A. Moore collection you can get by going to danielmooreart.com. danielmooreart.com, promo code TNR to look at that and all the other great works from Daniel A. Moore. That includes the legend Nick Saban. You can get those all right now online at danielmooreart.com, danielmooreart.com. In our viewing menu, brought to you by Michelson.
Yeah, to see life in high definition, make the phone call that I made back in 2003, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have zero to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. 205-969-8100. Dr. Mort Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. For more information, MichelsonLaserVision.com.
All right, tonight at AMC Theaters, we've got another mystery movie. It's rated R. It's an hour and 48 minutes, and a lot of people are saying that it could be a new movie based on a Stephen King story called The Life of Chuck. It stars Tom Hiddleston and is supposedly a life-affirming, genre-bending story about 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man named Charles Krantz. I don't know anything else about the movie, but it's been getting rave reviews from festival crowds and limited screenings.
Well, I would ask this about Stephen King material. I know it was commercially successful. I mean, his books are all successful, and the movies are typically garbage. Love The Shining.
Shawshank was
what,
Stephen
a short
King.
story. Yeah, The Green Mile, too.
Stand By Me was a short story.
Those are all Stephen King?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Those are all good movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the majority you will give me.
Oh, yeah. When Stephen King comes out and says, like, this is a great adaptation of one of my books, you know the movie's going to be garbage.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what happened with The Dark Tower. Everybody loves that series.
When they take one of his stories and totally change it to where it's not an adaptation, but it's a good theme, and they take it and make it into a great movie. If he says it's a good adaptation, then it's so close to the book that it's a horrible movie.
Oh, him and Stanley Kubrick hated each other because of the adaptation of The Shining.
Yes, the Shining movie is nothing like the Shining book, and Stephen King hated Kubrick for it and said it was awful.
Well, and they went back and they did
movie.
one with the guy from Wings, Steven Weber, a television that was more in line with what the book, and it was not good.
Nope. Yeah. And I don't think Dr. Sleep ended up living up to
expectations. It was okay,
either.
Yeah. It was very average.
Yeah. You didn't like the movie you saw this weekend. I saw your reviews. It was poorly edited.
Oh, yes. The new Karate Kid movie.
Shocker.
It's basically the same Karate Kid story but with new characters, and they kind of speed through the story really quickly, and it's just very poorly edited. It's like it was made for just sort of a TikTok audience to sort of watch it and forget it.
Watch it and forget it.
You move through all the story beats so fast, and I feel like you blink and you're already at the final tournament, and you don't even get a chance to know the new guy. But it was fun.
It was fun, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun if you like Cobra Kai and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, I think that's the audience they were trying to hit. What else you got for us tonight or this week?
Hulu has added every Alien movie, so if you've ever wanted to get into that franchise, now you can through just watching Hulu. They've also added a movie that came out last year from Steven Soderbergh called Presence. This is a story about a family believing that their house is being haunted, and it all takes place from the ghost perspective.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty decent. It's more of a drama than it is a horror, so I think if you're a non-horror fan, you'll enjoy it more, but it stars Lucy Liu as well.
Okay. I thought Black Bag was good.
I haven't seen Black Bag yet. I still need
Speaking
to make
of
my way to
Soderbergh.
that one. And then Netflix has added 2 classic movies, The Birds and Rear Window from Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh.
Love Rear Window. Bird's good, but Rear Window's fantastic.
Saw those in college, the theater class that I took. It was good movies. That's what Tyler's watching, brought to you by our friends at Michelson. When we come back, Auburn's number 27 in our 40 and 40 countdown, voted on by you, our viewers. Kyle Rush joins us, Top Button Podcast, thebarnauburn.com. On the other side on the show that's brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at jimdunaway.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, 82 days away from the start of college football season. Our 40 and 40 countdown continuing on today. We're about to talk to Kyle Rush about Auburn. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, UCA. Our friends there will take care of you no matter what age you are, 20s into your 30s, 30s to 40s, 40s to 50s, and so on. Guys, you want to stay on top of your health? You can do that with 16 locations in Central Alabama. Find the one near you. Make an appointment. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. 16 locations, as I said. Prostate health, the kidney stones, vasectomies, everything in between. 205-930-0920. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Our buddy Kyle Rush from the Top Button Podcast, thebarnauburn.com. He joins us. You see Taylor over there with him. Lance has been on with him. I occasionally show up on his podcast there. Kyle, welcome in, man. I hope your summer is going well so far.
Oh, man, it's going great. Fired up to be here. Let's talk some Auburn football, basketball, baseball, whatever. Let's go.
Well, Auburn baseball is doing well. We talked about that in the first segment. Let's go first. We were talking about this earlier. The interview that Hugh did with us, where, it's perceived by some that just making a bowl game would be a step forward in his eyes. Others heard that differently. As an Auburn guy, you know the comment I'm talking about. How did that play with you? What do you think Hugh Freeze was trying to say there?
Well, so I listened to the question and I listened to his answer, and one word that was never used was goal. Goal was never used as far as like, that's our goal to make a bowl game. The way I took it is, Lance basically asked him, hey, man, the first two seasons weren't that great as far as results go. Do you feel like you're under the gun? And I think he was trying to say, and he answered it a little bit better a couple of days later, but I think he was trying to say, look, I'm not a dummy. I know if we don't make a bowl game again, I'm in trouble. That's kind of the way that I took it. He said multiple times, 8-9 wins, I think, would be a good step in the right direction. And I think that's been pretty consistent as far as his message goes. As far as his message has gone since these questions have been asked. But that's kind of the way I took it. Hey, look, I'm not a dummy. I know that if we miss a bowl again, I'm going to be in trouble.
Well, Kyle, we went back and we played his comments from last year going into year two, and he talked about, when he was in Oxford, how they, got better each year. I mean, the fact of the matter is, look, they might have been a better team, but the record wasn't there, going from 6-7 to 5-7. In year three, when you've got, you've got a top 10 signing class coming in, you get some big gets in the portal, including Jackson and Singleton and the two tackles we talked about. For a guy that is around the program, what is your expectation in year three? What is, I don't want to say what's the bare minimum for you, but what do you really expect?
Yeah, I mean, you throw in, I think Pro Football Focus just put out their top wide receiver rooms in the country, and Auburn's at number 2. I think Singleton and Cam Coleman are the only ones that they have in their top 10 of returning wide receivers. So you guys have Auburn, I think, at 27?
Yes.
As far as, I think, preseason, you're seeing a lot of preseason accolades inside the top 25. And like you said, you've added a whole bunch of new additions that have this roster looking more like, at least on paper, a more competitive SEC roster. And I think, honestly, anything south of 8 wins, I think you've lost several games that you shouldn't have lost. I think Auburn's going to have a better roster than arguably at least 8 of the teams they're going to play. And then you can have a discussion about maybe 9, depending on how you see Texas A&M's roster. I think that you got the talent there. Now you got to go do it. And like you said, there were some tangible things that you could look at to see a jump as far as production goes on the offensive side from year 1 to year 2. But the critical pieces, which you actually mentioned in that particular clip as well that you're talking about, those critical pieces inside the red zone, turnovers, special teams, those could be the difference. Those could have been the difference last year in 3 or 4 games, and you got to get that done. You got to change that this year.
I really believe that quarterback play can be impacted tremendously by offensive line play.
Sure.
You look like a crappy quarterback if you got a crappy offensive line. Pro Football Focus, since you brought them up, last week has Alabama with the best offensive line in the country, has Auburn with the 7th best offensive line in the country, not in the SEC. Do you see that much improvement with the additions they have on that Auburn offensive line? Because that would be huge for quarterback play.
No question. To your point, I mean, think about from a play caller standpoint, can they block this play long enough? And then can the wide receiver run the route? Can they give the wide receiver enough time to run the route the way they need to? It condenses your playbook. It changes the way that you go about sequencing and things like that. With the addition of Xavier Chaplin, I really wish he could have participated a little bit more during spring. But, I mean, you went and got a number 1 offensive tackle out of the portal versus last year. I know people like to point to Percy Lewis, that whole disaster that happened, but Percy Lewis was like the 13th ranked offensive tackle in the portal last season. And you went and you got, I think, depending on which site you look at, the number 1 or the number 2 franchise starter in a Power 5 conference type guy at left tackle. And then you've got competition on the other side with Mason Murphy, and then you got Xavier Miller, Tall Miller, that has another year. There's just a lot of pieces. Connor Lew at center's getting a lot of going into his 3rd year, getting a lot of NFL talk as far as could he possibly leave early, maybe sneak his way into a 2nd-round pick. I like the continuity, and then I like the addition of the high-level pieces that they were added to kind of solidify Auburn's starting 5. I really do. I think the pieces are there to be better. You just got to go. You got to go do it. Last year they did have some bad moments, but they gave up less sacks and you had more yards per carry last year than you had the year prior. Now, where I always said that the weaknesses showed is when they knew Auburn had to pass, it gave Auburn problems, and when they knew Auburn had to run, it gave Auburn problems. In other words, short yardage situations or obvious passing downs. So you definitely can get better in that area. And I think I really like the additions. I think they can be big for this offensive line.
Kyle, I was very redundant over the last couple of years saying the most underutilized guy maybe in the SEC was Rivaldo Fairweather. Now with the Cowboys, is tight end ever going to be a factor?
And that's a great point, and it's something that I've been pointing to since, I guess, the offseason. Rivaldo played virtually every snap, and he lined up most of his time in the slot, kind of like a big slot receiver. Traditional tight end, Auburn's got a couple of pieces there. You got Brandon Frazier that's coming back for, I think, his 10th year. I think he signed under Gus. He actually did sign. He was in Gus's last class. He's going to be probably your more traditional tight end. And then I think, honestly, you're going to have such a rotation of wide receivers. I think you're going to try to get that production from Rivaldo, from like guys like Perry Thompson and Horatio Fields, a little bit more of your bigger bodied receivers than just having, a 6'5", 240-pound wide receiver out there. Auburn really doesn't have that player this season, but I don't know that you necessarily need him.
Wow. Why would you not need him? Because of all the receiver talent?
I'm saying you don't. I'm saying I don't think you necessarily have to have that 6'5", 240-pound guy, because I think you have so many different wide receiver options. And again, he wasn't a true – he didn't line up on the end of the line of scrimmage. He lined up out in the slot. He was just a big slot wide receiver, and I think you got options for that maybe even be a little bit more athletic out of this wide receiver room. I mean, Perry Thompson's 6'3", 220 pounds. So you could easily put him in that position and let him run, get in a matchup on a linebacker or a safety, and he's going to be just as big and maybe even more athletic than a Rivaldo. And you got a bunch of options on the outside that if you want to throw those jump balls to. I'm just saying I think you're not going to miss his production because of how good and how deep this wide receiver room is and how many different types of formations and things you can put out there against defenses.
I know we'll get to Jackson Arnold in a second, but let's flip to defense. I really think Auburn spending money and keeping DJ Durkin was huge this offseason. What do you think of DJ and what he has done on that defensive side of the ball, and how good could they be this year?
Man, I love DJ, and I think the kids love DJ too. He's made a huge impact. He's kind of opening up avenues as far as recruiting goes that Auburn's traditionally really never had, like getting players from Maryland and that St. Francis Academy kind of, I don't want to call it a pipeline, but you've had a lot of success there. Just from the recruiting aspect, he's been phenomenal. He's been able to take some of the guys that have been there a while and enhance them. And then he's also not been afraid to play young guys, and they've hit on those young guys, and those young guys go out there and make plays. I think about a guy like Jay Crawford last year who eventually worked his way into the starting lineup, and he's going to be I would say probably have one of the better seasons if things keep progressing of any corner in the SEC. So he's been great, and I hope they can keep him here for as many years as they possibly can. I like this defense this year. I think up front, I'm going to be anxious to see in the middle how Auburn handles things on the defensive line. I think they got some great pass rushing options. The defensive backfield should be phenomenal. And then linebacker, you got some young guys, but who plays where and how do you work that rotation? I think that's going to be in the middle on the defensive line, and then at linebacker, to me, are the biggest question marks.
Okay,
not necessarily bad question marks, but.
So, Kyle, we know Keldrick Falk is going to be a stud coming back from 7 sacks, and he's going to be one of the best in the conference. Who complements him, another edge guy?
So, obviously, you have I really like what I'm hearing out of Amaris Williams. Last year he was a big flip late in the cycle, late in the recruiting cycle, and he came in with a lot of accolades as a freshman. And he even said in an interview, I didn't have my head on correctly. I didn't really take things – do things the way I should have been doing them. And he actually, remember, he went into the portal in December and then came back out because I think he's really a foundational piece that I think Auburn wants to have as far as that next in line behind Keldrick Falk. So I think that's a guy that's going to see a lot of snaps and make a big jump this year. And then Kieron Crawford, their portal edge that they got last season that sort of backed up Jalen McLeod, he came on as the season went on, and I think he's going to be relied upon to be the first real line of defense at getting to the quarterback. So those are a couple of guys that I think you put them in the mix with Keldrick Falk, and I think you can present some problems for some quarterbacks.
Hey, when you look at Auburn's schedule, is there an early game that you think sort of sends the season down, sort of a fork in the road game, sends the season down a good way or a bad way? Maverick in the chat room says he thinks it's the trip to Norman in Oklahoma. Do you have one? I mean, it could be as early as Baylor, but do you have one?
I mean, you named it. I don't want to be like a doom and gloom guy, but I really think that Baylor game will set the tone for the whole season. I think obviously you can always rebound, but in particular on offense, if you go out in those first, 2 or 3 drives and you're seeing a lot of the same things and you're turning the ball over or you're not being able to extend drives, like I don't know what that does to the confidence of everybody, as you head on down into the season. But you mentioned Norman. That is a big game as well. If you get by Baylor, you have those 2 tough road games back-to-back. You go to Oklahoma, then you go to Texas A&M. I don't think necessarily one of those is more important than the other, but I think you need to at least win one of them. If you want to get to 9 games, you need to try to split those 2. And I think if you can do that and you can be 4-1 through those first 5 games, you got a chance to, at least be in the conversation later in the year.
How confident are you telling us right now, June 2nd, who the leading rusher for the Auburn Tigers will be?
I have no idea. I have zero confidence. Funny you asked that. So you brought in Darrell Robinson, which I think a lot of people are sort of like, you needed another back, but you don't know much about him. And then he came in, he had a bad foot. Had to have a procedure done on his foot as soon as he got here, so you didn't see him in spring. Auburn just hosted Jaira Edwards, who was another one of those St. Francis guys, 5-star safety, this past weekend. And they were doing his exit interview, and he just kept talking about Darrell Robinson. He's like, guys, this guy is big. He's had turf toe really bad the first 2 seasons. Big guys aren't able to typically do what this guy can do as far as the way he can move laterally and explode. I'm not going to be shocked. I say that to say I'm not going to be shocked if any one of the three really take it and run. I love Damari. He's been the more steady guy. Jeremiah Cobb has the ability to be a big play guy. But then what do you have out of this Darrell Robinson kid? I mean, he's a little bit different, a different body type than the others. And at least I know it's a former teammate, but getting some insight to his game that maybe we don't typically see. So I really don't know who's going to be the leading rusher. It's going to be fun. It'll be by a committee, and then maybe when someone gets hot, you let them ride with it.
For decades, one of the more consistent phases in Auburn's game was special teams, and boy, it was a wild ride last year. 12 of 22 on kicks. A lot of that was McPherson and whatever that mysterious illness was. Where is he right now? And Connor Gibbs, kid coming in from Southern Miss. Where did those guys stack up?
So oddly enough, I honestly didn't hear Connor's name really at all spring. I'm not really sure exactly where he is progression wise or where he fits into the rotation, but it sounds like Alex has actually been able to gain some weight. I know that the issue he has is volatile, and I think it can flare up at any point in time, but he was very steady. I wouldn't be surprised. And then Towns also had a great spring. Towns, to me, that was just a terrible situation for him last year. You go in, I can't remember if it's Arkansas or Oklahoma. You go in there, it's a fire drill field goal, and you got to run the whole special teams in there quick, and he hooks it, and then luckily they got an offsides, but then you go and do it, and it's in your head, and he hooks it again, and then, from then on, it's just in your head, and that was only his freshman year. I think Alex, as long as he can stay healthy, I think anything from 40 and in, you can just about count it. He quite literally was perfect the year prior. He never missed a field goal. So he's getting back into the shape where he can be relied upon for at least some short yardage stuff. And then if you need to go a little bit deeper, I think Towns is still going to handle place kicking. And if you need to kick a 50-plus yarder, he's got plenty of leg to be able to do that. So I think the kicking situation could fix itself just with those two guys, Alex being a little bit healthier, and then Towns just getting those freshman, yips out and hopefully kind of working himself back into, being who he was in A-Day. Remember, he hit 7 field goals in A-Day 2 years ago. I think he could be that guy again.
Okay, you can get Kyle. We got one more question here, but you can get Kyle and Zach and all of them over at thebarnauburn.com. thebarnauburn.com. Go check it out. A lot of free content, shows over there every day with the Top Button podcast. Get your morning going there with Kyle. Football, basketball, 365 days a year. Great stuff over there, thebarnauburn.com. Go check it out. Its own website, its own YouTube and everything. My last question is, we wanted to get a lot of Auburn content out without getting bogged down in quarterback because it's such an unknown. But confidence level on what you're hearing about Jackson Arnold after spring, going into the summer, waiting on August, do you foresee this being an upgrade at quarterback, and how good could Jackson Arnold be, in your opinion, from the people you talk to?
What I typically say is I think if you handed Hugh Freeze a ball of clay and said, I want you to build the most ideal quarterback for what you like to do, I think that quarterback would look a lot like Jackson Arnold. I think from the athletic ability standpoint, the ability to run, he was recruited to Oklahoma under that Jeff Lebby offensive system, RPO, vertical type offense. And then obviously Jeff left after his freshman year. I think there's a lot of similarities between what Lebby does and what Hugh wants to do. And I can see the traits, and I can see the way that, throwing off platform and being able to, run those option plays. You saw what he did at the end of the season last year at Oklahoma, where essentially they just went to the triple option, and he really, took down Alabama and won some big games. Looked good against Ole Miss at times too. I think he's a really good fit. To me, Jackson, it's not about ability. It's all about confidence, and I can tell that Hugh is definitely locked in on that. You can talk about, like he said, where we don't do this whole we want to leave with the quarterback. We want to leave practice with the quarterback feeling confident, and to me that seems like it's the goal. Can we help keep Jackson feeling confident and feeling good about the system and good about his play That's the key to me. All the athletic ability pieces are there, but can you protect him and help his confidence stay at a level to where he can go out there and produce? I think that's going to be the number one battle this year. And if that happens, I think he can be a really good quarterback. I think he looks a lot like he's got a lot of like Bo Nix, I guess, look to his game. To me, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Bo, and I think Bo would have been another really good fit in this system. So it's all about what happens between the ears, I think, with Jackson.
Aaron said it right after he typed it. You said it at the same time, all about swagger and confidence. Kyle, man, we appreciate your time. Top Button Podcast, thebarnauburn.com. Auburn number 27 in our 40 and 40 countdown. On a Shunnarah hotline, that is Kyle Rush. Man, thank you, Kyle. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, Alexander Shunnarah, Trial Attorneys Hotline. The show also being brought to you today by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa.
Woodhouse Day Spa, Father's Day is right around the corner, a week from this coming Sunday. Dad is absolutely going to love the gift of relaxation from our friends at the Woodhouse Day Spa. You can get Dad a relaxing massage at Woodhouse. Best gift you can give yourself or someone this Father's Day. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com to order the gift cards 24/7. You can stop by the Summit Shopping Centers, check out their beautiful location, tell Stuart and the great staff the next round sent you. But again, order Dad or that special person gift 24/7 online, Birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
And also by our friends at Bojangles. It's time for our Bo Tender moment of the day. It's Bo time. Nothing better than the crunch you get from your first bite of Bo's Chicken Tenders. Chicken tenders there with Bojangles. The only thing better than the first bite, maybe that second bite there. Bojangles' new crispy hand-breaded tenders, packed with flavor and perfect for dipping. Try the Carolina Legends' new crispy Bo's Chicken Tenders. It's Bo time. How about this for a tender moment? Scotty Scheffler wins the Memorial back-to-back years. First person to do that since Tiger Woods did it in 1999 through 2001 to go back-to-back at Jack's tournament. He does it. He wins $4 million in the process. He's walking off the 18th green, and what does his wife do? Hand him a baby with poop stain on the back of the onesie. There's the picture right there from Kyle Porter on social media. We've all had those blowouts before with our little ones right there when it shoots out the top of the diaper. Even when you've made $10 million in a month by winning 3 of 4 tournaments, you still get the stinky poop diapers.
Yeah, I'm going to – look, Scotty Scheffler seems like a great guy. I'm going to assume he doesn't change a lot of diapers, though.
Well, he's on the driving range.
Yeah, I bet they've got a nanny. But, look, you talk about dominant. 9th straight win with a 54-hole lead, 16 PGA wins since 2021. I mean, we talked about him last week. This guy is just next level.
Yeah.
Closest thing I think we've seen to Tiger since Tiger.
He's got to win a lot more to get to Tiger, as we talked about last week.
Yeah, never will, but would you agree the closest we've seen as far as this stretch of dominance?
I think I'm right about this. He's only won the Masters as a major. He hasn't won the other 3 yet, any of those.
He's got 2, though.
He's got 2 Masters, but that's one particular course. To get into elite category, he's winning a lot of other tournaments like the Memorial and stuff like that on the PGA Tour. He wins a lot. But I think you're judged by majors, and what will he be able to do in U.S. Opens and the Open over in England?
He won the PGA Championship this year.
Oh, he won that this year. Okay.
Yeah. So he's got 3.
So there we go. Now we're starting to build up. That's what you're judged by, in my opinion, is the majors, right?
Yeah, he's got came in second in the U.S. Open in 2022.
And that's what you got to get over, right?
Yeah, the one he struggled at, I guess, is British. His highest finish was last year, tied 7th. But, I mean, a top 10 finish is pretty good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That means you can play on those courses. And I think that's when you start getting into the conversation with the Tigers and the Jacks and things like that, when you start stacking up some majors in a variety of them. 2-time master, now 1 PGA championship. That's our Bojangles Tender moment of the day. NBA playoffs continue when we crank back up on Thursday. Oklahoma City will host Indiana. So we get a Pacers-Thunder NBA Finals. And the Pacers have been there once before. They got swept 4-0 by the Lakers back in 2000. So it's their first time to be there since then. So they're back. Before you tell us about Hemphill and Lance'sLock.com, one thing I hate about the NBA Finals is now we wait until Thursday to play the first game. Game 2 is Sunday. Game 3 is the Wednesday after that. We'll do 3 games in virtually a week after having almost a week off before game number 1 here. The gaps between games, I lose a little bit of the momentum and the steam a little bit.
Yeah, look, and Oklahoma City has been so freaking dominant in what they've been able to do. The good thing about the NBA, we were talking about NFL and parity, you will have your 7th champion in the last 7 years with whoever wins this. Oak City, obviously a big favorite right here.
Yeah, because of their home court, right?
Well, just because they've been dominant.
Yeah.
Best point differential in NBA history with almost 13 points per game plus. The youngest team, or second youngest team to ever make the NBA Finals behind the 76-77 Portland Trailblazers. I do think it's interesting. People already talked about dynasty, and they haven't won one.
That's right.
And by the way, if you go back to Dr. Jack Ramsey and Bill Walton in that Portland team, they never even played in the finals again.
That's right. That's right. Things can happen quickly, especially when you got a bunch of 24-year-olds and 2 low payroll teams here with the Pacers and the Thunders. Eventually, they got to pay these guys, or they end up going somewhere else.
Yeah, I saw an article this morning. They were talking about these 2 teams played December 26th. At that point, interesting, Indiana was a .500 team. Oklahoma City had the best record in basketball. I mean, they were pretty much dominant the entire time. But the reason they talked about they played on the 26th and not the 25th on Christmas is because 2 small market teams. And now you've got 2 of the 8 smallest market teams playing in the NBA Finals. Do you get the feeling these are going to be some of the worst ratings we've ever had?
Could be. No big draws there, but some up-and-coming star power, maybe a time to pass the hat. Hemphill brings you the lock every day. Tell us about Lance'sLock.com, where you still play baseball. Baseball's hot. Your Dodgers had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, 2 plays up and available right now in Major League Baseball at Lance'sLock.com. Jump on board. Win with us. Always a free play every single day. It is brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, cooling issues. Any of these arise in your home or business. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. HemphillServices.com. Hard to stop a train.
Remember, you got SEC teams trying to stay alive in the NCAA baseball tournament today. LSU, Tennessee trying to stay alive. Oklahoma trying to stay alive, and Ole Miss trying to stay alive. They all need wins today to advance out to the Super Regionals, where Auburn is already there, Arkansas is already there, and some others. So we're getting ready for the final 16 of college baseball. When we come back, our 4 downs and more college football, including a big contractual day for Bill Belichick yesterday. We'll talk about that right here on the show, that's brought to you by our friends at the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino. They bring you our studio sponsorship. If you're looking for a good time, especially during football season, but year-round, go out there with a great pair of mutual betting and also a lot of fun on college football and NFL Saturdays and Sundays at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino. This is the next round.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken. There's no off-season at covercrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at covercrimson.com.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
We'll get to some four downs in just a second. And some bold predictions in our Shunnarah Spotlight in just a second as well. But first, LT, tell us about Michelson, because we're about to look at one of your long-standing theories, and we're going to test it out again this year. Tell us about Michelson, and I'll explain it.
If you've thought about LASIK, stop procrastinating. Maybe wear the glasses, the contacts. You're wasting money each and every year. I'm speaking from experience. I wore the contacts for about a decade, had the 2200 vision, was legally blind without the aid of contacts. After the procedure, which only took 12 minutes for both eyes, 2015 vision. Make the phone call I made, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy Toe, the Next Round Cynthia. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have zero to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Okay, so long-standing all the way back to our radio days, Lance, you believed that when a elite athlete gets married, production drops, not 100%, but
a lot of times, yeah. There seems to be a little correlation with that. I don't have the facts to back it.
Yeah, but it's something we've kept an eye on over the years. And we have wedding photos from over the weekend. Quarterback Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills and actress-singer Haley Steinfeld tied the knot in a beautiful wedding over the weekend.
Okay, this is so weird, and I don't know where the context is, but do you ever... And I'm on a lot of meds right now, so I think they make you dream deeper. But I just remembered I had a dream about Josh Allen last night.
Wow.
He was just hanging out in his Buffalo jersey. He didn't have pads on.
That's ironic. I had a dream about Haley Steinfeld.
No, you did not.
No, I didn't. No. Tyler, I think she was in Pitch Perfect, right? She was one of the Pitch Perfect girls.
Yeah, she was in that. She was in True Grit.
Most recently, she was in Sinners this year.
How was she in centers?
She's fantastic in centers.
Okay.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it because it hadn't streamed yet.
But she also has like some hits, like musical hits, right?
Yeah, she's had top 5 hits before.
Yeah.
She's really, really talented. He's coming off, in my opinion, the best season he's ever had. Now, it didn't equate to a championship because it never does in Buffalo. This will be fascinating. They've been dating a while, though.
Yeah, since May of 2023, they've been dating. So in
that's pretty quick, actually.
In pro athlete and entertainment circles, that's a long courtship. That's 2 years.
It is, but in those 2 years, how many times do you think they've really hung out? That's the thing.
Well, I see her at games. I mean, not as much as Taylor Swift, but I see her at games.
Yeah, but I'm just saying if she's on location doing a shoot or she's in the studio recording and he's obviously traveling and OTAs and everything involved, I mean, they're probably together, I don't know, 1 or 2 days a week, maybe.
Or as I like to call it, a perfect marriage.
Yeah, I mean, some people, it really is. I mean, and I called this. Like Tom Brady and Giselle, everybody was like, oh, they're in so much love. Once he retires, this is going to get complicated.
Yeah.
And it did.
$250 million guaranteed contract for Josh Allen. He's not the biggest earner, or is he the biggest earner?
He's the biggest earner in the family. I don't think it's to the level where maybe he needs to sign a prenup. I would if I was him, but she's probably worth $20 million. I mean, not close to what he's worth.
Okay, before we get to the Shunnarah spotlight, would you tell me what A+ did for you guys at your house?
Yeah, so they came out. This sounds weird, but when I get up in the middle of the night, because we're old Dunaway, I have to go to the bathroom once or twice in the middle of the night. Love walking through the new bathroom. Just the revisions they did there. They did it for my kitchen. So I did the bathroom last spring. I did the kitchen this past summer. And you see the before and after right there on the bathroom. I don't even have the before and after. I don't think I've given that to Scott for the kitchen. Need to get that, but Brad and the guys do a absolutely fantastic job.
It's Brad Bell and the fine folks at A+ Tile Home Remodeling. You see the work he does there. You stop looking at old, ugly showers and kitchen islands and other. Get the remodeling happening with our friends right there at A+. Call Brad today, or you can text Brad. This is his cell number, 205-422-1758, 205-422-1758. That's a direct line straight to Brad. He and his crew also serve Huntsville and Mobile as well, not just Central Alabama. So make the call today that Lance and Brownie made. Brad Bell at A+ Tile and Home Remodeling, 205-422-1758, or alabamabathremodels.com.
The College Football Spotlight.
And that's brought to you by Shunnarah. More on Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys after we do our Spotlight today. And our Spotlight is some bold predictions from our friends at Elite College Football. I got 3 of them here today. They had 10, but 7 of them were not really that bold. Like Clemson going 12-0 in the regular season.
12-0 might.
Texas winning the SEC.
No,
I mean, some of those aren't bold. TCU winning the Big 12, not that bold.
That's kind of bold.
Here are the 3 that I pulled out. Forrest, or any of the 3, pop one up here. Elite College Football on Twitter. Tennessee goes 7-5. 7-5. Now, we know they changed their quarterback. Syracuse in Atlanta to start with. ETSU, Georgia, UAB, at Mississippi State, Arkansas, at Alabama, at Kentucky, Oklahoma, New Mexico State, at Florida, Vandy. To me, they'd have to lose all their up-in-the-air games. Syracuse, Georgia, at Alabama, Oklahoma, at Florida to go 7-5. That's hard to believe.
7-5 going from the way they lost in the college football playoff. I think your problem becomes, if you're a Tennessee fan, is do I have a consistent product? Because you go back to Hendon Hooker, and that was a team that should have gone to a college football playoff. Really good offense. Then the next year, the Joe Milton experience didn't work. And then last year, you get to a college football playoff. If you go backwards again this year, is it going to be the up and down like that under Heupel?
Yeah.
I don't see 7-5. I can see 8-4.
I could see 8-4, but that would still be disappointing to me where Tennessee is. But I mean, obviously Georgia and Alabama on your schedule almost every year. It seems like Oklahoma would have to be really good.
Another Tennessee win over Alabama. Boy, that narrative changes.
Yeah, because now they're winning in Bryant-Denny because that's where that game is this year. Their 2 wins in this series since the long streak have been up in Knoxville. That would be different. What's the next one? Next bold prediction there from our friends at Elite College Football. Michigan beats Ohio State for the 5th straight time.
Boy, that would just be, and you brought this up earlier when we were talking about Hugh Freeze and Ryan Day. You know, what do Ohio State fans say about this? This game is in Ann Arbor. Still can't believe they lost the game last year, and then they go on after the 10-2 regular season and win the national championship. I mean, if they would have lost in the college football playoff, some people believed he would have been gone. That would have been nail in coffin, though. If you don't win a national championship last year and then you lose to Michigan for a 5th consecutive season, I don't know. I think Michigan's going to be improved. I don't think Ohio State's going to be as good as they were.
Do you think we early on in my career, when there was death threats made against athletes and coaches, it seemed to always make national news, and it seemed to always be a Southern school that made the national news for having death threats? Kirk Herbstreit in the last few days has let it out that Will Howard received death threats after the Oregon loss and again after the Michigan loss. Doesn't seem to get the same traction when it's in northern schools. It's crazy redneck Southerners when it's down here in the South. We care too much about our football.
Well, I appreciate the fact that Will Howard didn't bring this up because I would say 99.9% of these are just hollow, somebody hiding behind avatar.
If you watch anything on ESPN Plus, like streaming that doesn't have a full commercial load of advertisers, you'll get an NCAA PSA that talks about not bullying athletes over gambling losses. Yeah.
I think that probably is some of it.
We made national news when Peyton Thorne talked about the threats he got. After
people asking, "Hey, I want that $500 back."
Yeah.
Have you ever had a death threat?
Not that I know of. No.
I think it's funny that.
Are you suggesting I should?
No, not at all. I mean, just some people in the public eye. Sometimes this stuff happens.
Have you?
No.
Yeah, no, I've never had one.
No.
I try not to offend too many people, especially too many people with guns.
I mean, how big of an idiot do you feel like if you have a death threat to Will Howard and then he turns around and wins a national championship?
Yeah, see, that's what I would love to see. I think you should be traced down and banned from enjoying your team ever again.
Yeah,
your team did not win the national championship. You no longer have a team. You are off the team after the Michigan loss. You put death threats. You are no longer. You cannot cheer for Ohio State.
I don't have a problem with that.
And we go through your closet, and you cannot have any Ohio State.
If you're
gear.
like, hey, Will Howard in the transfer portal, you're not earning your money right now. You're not playing well. I mean, death threats next level. But I mean, you can't enjoy the season if you're threatening your own players.
Yeah, I mean, we got to track those people down, I think, a little bit maybe.
But I wonder how many were Ohio State, or was it just a random dude that didn't like the the time management at the end of that game in Eugene?
Yeah.
They just had, a $500 wager on Will Howard in Ohio State.
Go check that out. One more elite college football bold prediction. Georgia loses 3 regular season games. I almost didn't put this one in here because I don't know how bold this is. Here's their schedule. Marshall, Austin Peay to start with, at Tennessee, and then home to Alabama after a bye week. Kentucky at Auburn, Ole Miss, Florida, at Mississippi State, Texas, Charlotte, and at Georgia Tech. I mean, I could go at either Tennessee or Auburn, Alabama, and Texas, and I could easily get to 3 there. And that's not even counting Florida or, Ole Miss there.
Well, this is fact right now. They are favored in all 12 games. Now, that could change with an injury here or there, poor play, and, a team like Texas playing better than advertised. I would be shocked if they lose 3 games. We talk about nobody's talking about Alabama. Nobody's talking about Georgia. More so in this regard, it's negative stuff that is coming out. Kirby Smart, after winning that first national championship in Indianapolis, when we talked to him, he was talking about everybody was poor-mouthed in Georgia, and I think going into the season they were number 2 or number 3. I guess they're going to be top 5 preseason, but it's going to be close. But I really think he can use things like this as extra motivation for his team.
He actually joked with Feinbaum at SEC meetings on his show about loving all the negative press people are saying about Georgia. 3 losses. I can see it on the table here. I don't remember
during Alabama's run of them having an off season where people were talking down about Alabama like they are about this Georgia team.
I can't remember that either. But, Kirby Smart still doesn't get the love Nick Saban got. Kirby Smart is viewed as the best coach, active coach right now in college football. But, Nick Saban was just a different level. So I think people just assume that it didn't matter what Alabama lost. They were going to come back and they were going to be just as good the next year. And I think with Georgia, I think a lot of this, I don't know how you feel about it. I think a lot of this is Gunnar Stockton. I think it's two things.
I think a lot of it is Gunnar Stockton.
I think it's Gunnar Stockton, and I think it's where we perceive Texas to be right now. But let's not forget Gunnar Stockton and Georgia just beat Texas in the SEC championship game.
Colton says Jim more likely to have a restraining order than a death threat.
I would, yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
fair. That's fair. That's our football spotlight brought to you by Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys, a national firm with southern roots right here in Birmingham, Alabama. In 24 years, the firm has grown to over 150 lawyers, supported by over 500 dedicated team members, elite trial lawyers that have recovered over $2 billion, that's with a B, $2 billion by maintaining Alexander's core values of integrity, mastery, passion, and success. Alexander's mission was to create a firm that can handle any issue his community faced. That firm now handles not only personal injury claims, but claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug device claims, disabilities, workers' comp, and a host of other claims. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer for anything, call Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win the case. Let's do our 4 downs right here. Lance, you have them for us every day. I imagine an Auburn question or two since they're 27 in our countdown. Tyler, crank it up, man.
First down.
Okay, weird celebrity birthdays. I've only got a couple here, and then we will get to some of those Auburn questions. Dennis Haysbert, 71 years old now.
Where'd I know him from?
He was Serrano in Major League.
Okay.
He was the president in 24. He was also the getaway driver in Heat.
Okay.
But I was going to ask you, is he more known for that, or is he more known for Allstate? He was the guy in the Allstate commercials, not Mayhem.
Not Mayhem.
But the other guy.
His voice, like, you're in good hands.
Yeah, he's got a really good voice. Do you know who Dennis Haysbert is?
I do not.
You would know him he's been in a ton of stuff.
I know him from Major League, but when that was the Allstate commercial, I would say more for Allstate.
I wonder where he made more money. I bet probably for the Allstate commercials.
I never thought commercials paid as much until two things. Yeah. Until Entourage, and then Barkley told us how much he got paid.
Yeah, but I do think, different for a Charles Barkley or at that point a Vinny Chase than a Dennis Haysbert. But still, that was $1 million campaign. So he's probably making more doing Allstate commercials than he's making in Michael Mann's 1995 Heat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Can't
I know him
he's
from
71.
Major League, but Allstate when he's 71.
Yep.
I wrote down 51.
Black don't crack.
Wow, 71. That's an amazing run for him. I'm gonna say Major League for me.
Second down.
Dana Carvey, 70 years old. Never found him funny.
Really?
Seemed like a nice guy. Just didn't find him funny.
Church lady?
No.
Nope.
Not what I like.
As George Bush?
He was a pretty good George Bush. But if I asked you better career, Dana Carvey or another SNL alum, David Spade?
Spade.
What did Spade do? What?
Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt. Oh, no. See, just the opposite for me. I found Harvey more funny than I did Joe Dirt, that guy.
Well, see, I didn't, full disclosure, I didn't see Joe Dirt.
But any of his characters on Saturday Night Live, I liked Harvey.
I like Spade, how sarcastic he is. He's one of the most sarcastic people in Hollywood, and I think his stand-up's actually pretty funny.
Which one's in Tommy Boy?
David Spade.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did like the Tommy Boy movie.
Like Wayne's World, I couldn't stand, and I know I'm in the minority here. I haven't liked anything Dana Carvey's done.
I thought that was really creative, man, for that time.
I don't know. Maybe I was born in the wrong time, but I've never been crazy about Wayne's World either. It's just fine.
Yeah, I remember going to see it in the theater when it was like the #1 movie for months and months and months, and I couldn't get out of there quick enough.
Zach says Spade by a mile. Rusty Spade, Nick Spade, Jay Spade, and it's not even close. So
I would agree.
You win the chat room.
Third down.
More wins this year, Auburn or the Atlanta Falcons? Atlanta 8 wins last year. They would have had the Auburn Tigers. I'd like to ask Forrester this because he is our resident Atlanta/Auburn fan. I know you want to see Auburn win more, but realistically, is Penix going to be the guy, and does Atlanta have more wins than the Auburn Tigers?
Yeah, I'm more optimistic about the Falcons than I am about Auburn.
I think both end up being 8. But the Falcons, I believe, have a better chance at 9 than Auburn.
I think 8 and 9 could win that division. I know you guys wanted it 10-7 last year.
Yeah.
But, would you be surprised if you've got Atlanta, Carolina, and Tampa all around 8 wins?
Listen, I don't want to jinx us, but if the quarterback play stays where it is, receiving core is good, running game is good, offensive line is good, and then the defense is always going to be in the top half.
Oh, look, I think Tampa is definitely a factor, and it is funny because I kind of agree with you. Like, when are we going to start believing in the 2017 Heisman Trophy winner, Baker Mayfield?
Yeah,
because he is nothing but consistent over the last couple of years.
He just has to be a game manager. That defense doesn't have to be as good as it used to be when they won Super Bowls. That offense is really, really starting to score some points. I think Tampa wins the division with 10 or 11 wins again. But I'm gonna slide Falcons with 9, but I really believe it's gonna be 8 and 9 and 8 and 4.
Yeah, I am going to. Boy, this is really tight. I'm gonna say the Falcons 9/8.
4th down.
Okay, over the next 3 years, 25, 26, 27, more wins. Hugh Freeze or Lane Kiffin?
How many years?
3.
3 years. I think Ole Miss fans believe they have a generational quarterback in Simmons that's about to start and play at least 2 full seasons there.
You think they've got a better quarterback than Jackson Dart?
I do believe yes, I do believe Ole Miss fans think that Austin Simmons.
Well, they are pretty illogical, so that would make sense.
We'll see how good this kid is. Everyone I talk to believes he is an elite quarterback, maybe the best quarterback Lane Kiffin's ever had.
Look, Lane Kiffin has always got good quarterback play. Jackson Dart ultimately goes in the first round to New York. The Giants think he is going to be their future. When we saw Austin Simmons a limited time, especially that first drive against Georgia, looked really, really good. I expect him to have good numbers.
Who was Lane's quarterback in Tuscaloosa?
Blake Sims.
Jake Coker,
yeah. He did not have the best elite quarterbacks.
And then he had Jalen Hurts.
And then, 16 was Hurts.
Yeah.
Really, he had the appetizer to the incredible run of Tua, Mack, and Bryce.
Now, he helped recruit those guys.
He did.
That brought those to Tuscaloosa in his system.
Well, I think, his system and those receivers excited those quarterbacks to come on board.
So his best quarterback as a head coach, who do you have at Tennessee? Who do you have at USC? Is Jackson Dart his best quarterback ever?
No, I don't think so.
Who was his quarterback year at USC?
Matt Barkley.
Yeah.
Barkley was a really good college quarterback, about the same as Jackson Dart. Obviously didn't go as high in the NFL draft. I don't know.
I think there are people that believe Austin Simmons will be better.
Could ultimately be that guy.
Will be the best quarterback Lane has
I would
ever
just say this. Over a 3-year span, Auburn should be better than Ole Miss.
I'm going to take Lane Kiffin in this. That they continue to churn out 8-9 win seasons. And we'll see.
Well,
we'll
really,
see if Auburn,
been double digits for Lane.
Yeah, but if they next 3 years, 8-9 wins, see if Auburn can match them there.
Yeah, I am going to lean Lane Kiffin as well.
Okay, that's our 4 downs today. A show also brought to you by our friends at Bojangles. We were telling you earlier about the Bo tenders, but so many great things that you can get with our friends at Bojangles right now. That includes all the wonderful fried chicken. From sweet to heat, Bojangles has 7 sauces that will definitely add a little extra flavor to every bite, and nothing pairs better with their sauces than their hand-breaded tenders and the great fried chicken overnight. So if you're looking for sweet, try the honey mustard. Add some tang with the barbecue sauce there, creamy buffalo, peach, honey, pepper.
They've got it all for you there. Head to Bojangles, order some hand-breaded tenders with your favorite sauce today. It's bow time. More college and NFL football coming up on the other side. This is The Next Round.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Hey, you. Days warming up, looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show now, brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Had some folks coming back and going to the beach this weekend that stopped by and saw our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken just off I-65 right there in Alabaster. Some people made plans saying, hey, when I'm rolling back into town, I wanted to stop by and get some of that brined overnight Southern fried chicken. They were able to do that with Sterling. And the fine folks right there cannot wait to get by there the next time I'm down to see Mom in Alabaster. Those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, so good. Go and check them out. ChampiesChicken.com. ChampiesChicken.com. We had a sad passing over the weekend. And even sadder that it was after a long bout with depression. But 54-year-old John Brinkus passed away. Do you remember him, LT?
Nope.
He was the guy that brought us sports science on ESPN.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
He dies at the age of 54. His family says a long bout with depression. And so sad situation there on many different levels. But so thankful for what he did with sports science. That was one of my favorite segments in its heyday when it would run on SportsCenter.
So unique, and I hate to hear that. I ran into Dr. Brett McCabe, and we do the men's mental health pod, and we're going to be bringing that back, and we're just trying to coordinate. He's just been crazy busy. But I mean, this is another example of the epidemic that is depression, and some unfortunate things going on in the mental health space. But yeah, I agree with you. That was one of the more unique things. I can't remember the one that really jumped to me.
What is going on in the mental health space? You mean cutbacks and stuff?
Yeah, I'm just talking about, there's that. Like, let's say that you've got an appointment with a therapist this week, and for whatever reason you've got to cancel. It's like, okay, we can see you in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just not readily available. And there's just a lot of people that struggle with it, a lot more than people realize.
Yeah. If you need help, reach out. I know LT is good at helping you find somebody, professionals in the area, and that podcast is coming back soon. Do you remember one particular sports science one that jumps for you? Forrester, do you remember one at all, you guys, that I would always, pre-draft always liked? He would judge the leaping ability, and he would compare the speed to a Jaguar, and it was just always amazing stuff. Was there a certain athlete that jumped out that
I remember them doing something on Megatron, Calvin Johnson,
That's
like
the one I remember.
his catch radius.
Yes.
I remember that one, and I remember him getting run over by Brandon Jacobs.
Did he really try to tackle Brandon Jacobs?
He put on a suit, right? And some
yeah,
sensors.
he had some kind of protective gear on, and Brandon Jacobs trucked him.
Yeah. Brandon Jacobs trucked a lot of people back in the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just such a creative, the creative way. The power of Sue, Nicholas says. Calvin Johnson's radius. Won a lot of Emmys for that one, everyone's pointing out.
Yeah, I can't remember the last. We had him on the show. Do you remember that?
I don't. Was that with me?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Now,
don't remember.
You possibly could have been out that day. It was in the summer.
Yeah.
And it was when we were at the, not in the top studio, Jock, so our early days together. So between 2010, 2015. But yeah, we had him on.
Yeah, I just loved that segment, man. I would stop and watch any time. And then eventually, did they try to make it a half-hour show and it just fell apart then? It seemed like they did that. They tried to make it into something else. And Colton said he compared being hit by Ray Lewis to being run over by an actual battering ram. Was a great segment. Yeah. Passing of him. Going to miss John and those sports science. Live on forever there on YouTube if you want to chase those down a little bit. All right, back to some college football news that's out there. One of them is the Big 12. They're handing out a record $558 million to its members. Colorado, by the way, has once again sold out all of its season tickets for the third straight year. Deion Sanders. Does that surprise you with Hunter and Shunnarah gone that Colorado sells out again third straight year?
We're always a little late on the trend. I think Colorado fans were all about it. But there's still that buzz with Deion. And I think more, last year I didn't have an expectation for this team, and they win 9 games, and you've got a guy that wins a Heisman Trophy in Travis Hunter. And obviously you're losing 2 generational players, 2 of the best to ever wear the Buffaloes uniforms. But with the Big 12 so wide open, to me this is more exciting to see what Deion's got, because this is really, can he maintain what he's been able to build at Colorado and bring in new faces to be able to take over?
Before Deion got to Colorado, the Buffaloes had not sold out their season tickets since 1996, and they've now done it in 3 straight seasons there, so good for them. June 1st was a big date for several people, including the new Pac-12, because all the teams leaving the Mountain West
filed notice on June 1st that they were leaving to go to the new Pac-12, the San Diego States, the Boise States of the world. UNLV has not done that. They're hanging in with the Mountain West right now. Do you know why?
It's got to be, I wouldn't think they're the anchor for the, I mean, they are the anchor, but I don't think you're going to give them more money. I really don't know what. Not basketball, I don't know.
They believe, and in fact, they're telling all their new recruits this, that by not going to the Pac-12, that they will be part of the next level of Big 12 expansion. That the UNLV will join the Big 12. Now, it's an attractive television market, Las Vegas.
I mean, Vegas is probably now, I mean, at one point, now Nashville has that crown as the fastest growing city in America, but that was Vegas for a good 5-10 year stretch. I would think it's a top 30 market.
Easily a top 40. I was going to say in the high 20s. Yeah.
I mean, look, I mean, it's good enough that you've got NHL hockey and NFL football now and Major League Baseball coming.
You're going to have 3 major sports, so it may even be higher than that. I think I agree with Nicholas. It's a great market for the Big 12.
I do agree that Vegas is a great market for anyone. And UNLV, you got to weigh it Big 12 or new Pac-12. Big 12 isn't going anywhere. They've done a really good job of carving in their lane. And Pac-12, we haven't seen it yet. And you know it's not going to be as good as the old Pac-12.
Dan Mullen selling it to recruits, and so is the basketball coach, that we're going to be in the Big 12. We'll be in the Big 12 soon.
I guess Boise didn't have that option. Like, Boise's obviously the alpha program. Boise's probably a top 50 market, but not close to Vegas.
I don't know what Boise – it seems like Boise could have written something into their contract going to the new Pac-12. We'll come do this, but we're going to leave some options to get out.
I'll tell you who didn't want Boise. Other Big 12 teams.
Yeah. Well, that may be it,
because, I mean, you know, say what you want about Boise as Group 5, and that's it. But if they went to the Big 12, it would make that program that much better.
Yeah. Jeremy says Vegas is market 40 right now, according to the ratings.
Okay.
The television ratings, market number 40. We'll get to the new Madden cover in a second, but a former NFL guy who has been a cover of magazines and tabloids, Bill Belichick, yesterday was a big date for him as well. His buyout dropped yesterday. It was a $10 million buyout to leave North Carolina. It is now just a $1 million buyout. It was a weird time to have a buyout drop from $10 million to $1 million, but here we are on June 2nd, and if Bill Belichick wants to leave North Carolina, he only has to pay $1 million. Now, I don't know why he would leave right now. He's getting paid a lot of money, but if he wanted to walk away, it would only cost him $1 million to walk away.
Let me ask you this. What would be a bigger taint on his legacy? They go 4-8 this year, or he taps out before they even play a game?
To me, they go 4-8.
See, I don't know. I think you could sell it either way. I mean, 4-8 is going to be bad, but I don't know if there's really an expectation for this team. He taps out now, like all you remember is all the drama surrounding it. Of course, they go 4-8. I'm sure there's more drama there.
Yeah, I think I would just remember the fact that for a brief moment he was going to try to coach college football and got there and didn't like it.
You know what's going to be really fascinating? Imagine if they went 9-3 and won the ACC.
Or just played for the championship.
Yeah. Like, I think Belichick, I don't know if he needs that, but I think it would soften the argument on everybody now as it was all Tom Brady. And look, I think, you know, without Tom Brady, he doesn't win those championships, but I don't know without Belichick how good those Patriot teams really are.
Also a big date contractually. Boy, June 1st was a big sports contract date for all the lawyers out there. Because of June 1st, here we're on a Monday, you can get Kirk Cousins, you can get Tariq from the Dolphins, Jalen Ramsey, and if you've got any dead money left on the franchise you're leaving, you can spread that dead money out over multiple years. Before June 1st, you had to take it all on right now. So if the Falcons want to straight out just release Kirk Cousins or trade him and not put all that dead money on Pittsburgh with a trade, they could spread that dead money out over a couple of years and it not hurt their contract situation.
I think you will see the Falcons probably do that. You know, right now, Jalen Ramsey's not what he once was, but he's still can be a quality guy in the secondary for anybody that picks him up. Tyreek Hill can still be a massive factor offensively. I don't really know who would touch the Kirk Cousins contract unless you did it like that.
And unless it's Pittsburgh, who's just in a dire situation right now, waiting to see what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. All right, our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing, before I've checked it, it is a true story. But we saw a number about Cooper Flagg over the weekend that I did not believe to begin with, but we've checked it out, and we'll talk about it after I tell you about Storm Restoration Roofing, a free, no-cost roof inspection, absolutely free. That's what you get from Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. That's his cell number. Call him, text him. It's his personal number. He'll talk to you after marrying off his son this weekend. He's back working for you today. The sun is out today. The sun's out this week, but we've had so much rain, so many storms. Find out the damage done to your roof with a free no-cost roof inspection. He handles roof replacements when you have an old roof. He handles storm repairs. In fact, he's got a builder's license, which helps with the storm repairs. But also, he'll check shingles and water entry points, and he'll do that for free, no obligation. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. Call Greg from Pell City, 205-542-3531. Look him up on Facebook. He's Greg from Pell City. There's nobody better than him. So trustworthy. A guy you'll want to do business with when you want to solve your roof issues. All right. Cooper Flagg, NIL earnings at Duke last year. The number that came out, and I've backed it up now by doing some more reading and research, $28 million was his NIL last year.
So I would ask you this. He lived up to the expectation. I mean, for anybody that can live up to $28 million, he would obviously make more if he came back. Why would you not come back? I know he's the number one overall pick, but that would be hard to turn down $30+ million to be in college again.
The reason why is because these deals that Cooper signed were also over the first few years of his NBA career. To get to $28 million, it included a $13 million New Balance deal, a $15 million deal with Fanatics, and an unprecedented college basketball freshman deal with Gatorade. And all of those contracts lead into the early part of his professional career as well. I assume they would have stayed with him had he come back to college.
Look,
so he could have come back.
And you can never go higher than one, right?
That's right. So that $28 million is not going. Now he's getting $62.7 million with his first contract in the NBA.
But I still think, he had something to come back for. They didn't win a national championship.
Yeah, no, he could have, and he talked about wanting to. But those deals with New Balance, Fanatics, and Gatorade got him to $28 million.
Well, you think about it, at 18 years old, I mean, he's already set for life if he wants to be.
And I hate to bring this up, but he's going to be a white basketball player in America, and those guys aren't marketed a lot, right? He's going to be attractive to some brands out there.
Okay, well, let's talk about like American white players that have really been marketed. So, like, you can't talk about Dirk and Luka and Joker. I mean,
they're Europeans, but I don't see them all over the place.
No, but I think if they were from Maine, they might be.
Yeah.
Like, trying to think about the last great American-born white player, Gordon Hayward.
I mean, I don't see him in a lot of commercials.
No, I was somewhat kidding there.
The last commercials I remember is, I'm sure there's somebody since Larry Bird.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be somebody since Larry Bird, right? I say that. I mean, nobody really jumps.
But I'm not off base saying that part of the attraction on Cooper Flagg is that he's going to be different. He's not the majority in the NBA.
I mean, he's not. You're right. I mean, I'm racking my brain. I'm trying to remember the last great white American-born player.
I'm sure there's one.
I mean, not that it's overly important, but it is interesting.
It's absolutely not important. Yeah. But from a marketing campaign, you're always looking for something that's different.
Well, I mean, Cooper Flagg,
But Michael Jordan had charisma. He was the greatest of all time. He was winning championships. But there was something about Michael Jordan that was just really cool. He jumped off the screen at you and the print ads at you.
You know what's crazy, though? Like, if you would have, and you haven't seen the movie Air yet, right?
I have not.
So Jason Bateman is the Nike executive going through all the guys that are going to be drafted in the first round, and they're trying to hitch their wagon to the right athlete. And like guys like Roy Tarpley. And Jordan was a guy that they ended up focusing on, and it worked out, but it wasn't like he was regarded as the best. Let's not forget that Jordan wasn't drafted number 1 overall. He wasn't drafted number 2 overall.
That's right.
You know, Cooper Flagg, the expectation coming out of college is more than Michael Jordan had coming out of college.
Leitner, Kevin Love, Forrester says in the back row, John Stockton.
Boy, we were talking about like Kevin Love, a little different, still on an active roster. But I never considered I considered Kevin Love really good. Stockton was great. I will give you that. Who was the one before? Christian Leitner was a great college player. Ended up being an okay NBA player.
We'll see what he turns into, but I mean, there's some marketability there for Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, but is Cooper Flagg to you more John Stockton? I know, completely different position, or more Christian Leitner? Like, I thought coming out, Christian Leitner was going to have a really good NBA career.
I think Cooper will have a good NBA career.
I do too.
I believe in Cooper Flagg's skill set. I think he'll be.
And I think
I don't know who he'll be like, but I think he'll be better than Leitner.
I think
not
Leitner
as good as Stockton, different position.
Would be better in today's NBA because Leitner really could learn how to, consistently hit that 3-point shot, which is obviously, a good majority of the game now.
Yeah. Chris Mullins, Steve Nash.
We're talking guys at 20-plus years ago.
Yeah. You're maybe joking, John, but really they're hoping for a Caitlin Clark-like phenomenon. And with some marketing there with Cooper Flagg. But $28 million, they jumped on him early with New Balance and Fanatics and Gatorade. And that's how much he put in his pocket, according to reports over the weekend, while he played at Duke this past year. Our friends at Gutter Cap, we just told you about your roof and storm restoration roofing. Our friends at Gutter Cap can help you secure those gutters as well, also adding value to your home.
Yeah, I talked to our man, Chris Stewart, over the weekend. Great guy. He's been doing this for over 2 decades now. Make the phone call. Never clean those dirty, dangerous gutters again. 205-823-2212. When you mention the next round, it's got an incredible special for you at Gutter Cap of Birmingham. Again, it's a dirty, dangerous job. You get on the roof, you slip, you fall, snap the neck and die. No good to the wife or kids. Cap it, don't snap it. 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com.
By the way, Tennessee and Texas have started the Women's College World Series on Elimination Day today. Tennessee's got to beat Texas twice, or Texas is into the best-of-3 finals. Later tonight, Oklahoma won 3 straight championships. They face elimination. They've got to beat Texas Tech twice tonight. Texas Tech, speaking of big NIL deals, has the Kennedy girl from Stanford, $1 million softball player, as their pitcher.
And it's paying off up until this point. And, I think Texas Tech is fascinating. We're in a regional final in basketball. Some people believe they're the Big 12 favorite in football. Is Texas Tech, if all this comes together, are they going to be like
the biggest winners in NIL?
Well, we're talking SEC, Big 10, and like Texas Tech is that other model.
Yeah, because they've got the money. They've spent it, and it's paid off. They've had more success on the field. And if
that's the easiest way to get your boosters back on board is when you pay millions of dollars for a player and it pays off.
Yeah, a Kennedy win tonight over Oklahoma, knocking them out, and you're off to the finals. I guess that's worth the $1 million.
So is this chick pitching for Tennessee right now with the long ponytail? Doesn't she have the fastest pitch in history?
She does.
And didn't Tennessee baseball have that just a couple of years ago?
They did with EG's friend.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now. He's in the big leagues, working his way back and forth.
Ben Joyce.
Yeah,
Ben Joyce, yeah. So Ben Joyce at Tennessee, but I can't remember the pitch. Is it 79?
I think it was 78.3.
Yeah, basically 79 miles per hour.
But then you equate that from
45 feet away.
Yeah. Yeah, that's coming at you.
Yeah, reaction time has to be over 110 in Major League Baseball terms. We need the sports science guy to break that down for us. It would be really good. All right, the one other thing before we take a break here I wanted to get to was baseball, since we're talking about that. Braves lose 2 or 3 to Boston over the weekend. Day off today. Arizona tomorrow. More on the Braves coming up in the Pennant Grace tomorrow at 12:15 as Pennant Grace comes at you another week. They're now 9.5 back in the National League East. They're 5.5 back in the wild card. Only the Marlins, Pirates, and Rockies are behind them in the wild card race. At some point, I mean, I know it's only June 2nd, but we said this when it was only May 2nd, that at some point this team has to get going.
Yeah. An interesting run differential. They're still plus there. It just hasn't come together for the Braves. And you mentioned those Rockies, the third worst start in Major League history.
Well, they're the first team ever to get to 50 losses before they get to 10 wins.
They've lost 8 straight right now. This is their 4th 8+ game losing streak this year. Like, how is that even possible? They're 9-50, 27 games back, and we just got to June.
Well, we did see the two best teams play this weekend with the Dodgers and the Yankees. The Dodgers get an Ohtani home run on Friday. They come back and win the game. Then they blow the Yankees out 18-2 on Saturday. The Yankees avoid the sweep with a win last night. Money on the table. If you had to pick the World Series teams, did we see them play this past weekend, Dodgers, Yankees?
I would say one, but I mean, look, there are 3 teams with better records right now. The Cubs have a better record. The Mets have a better record, and Detroit's got the best record in baseball. Nobody is talking about these Tigers, and you're talking about
Auburn, great Casey Miles and Scooble, and that pitching staff's really, really good.
Ultimately, the more successul Riley Green.
I don't know. Riley Green, the singer's rolling on.
No, I'm saying that's a great 4 downs question. Like which Riley Green ultimately will have the most success? Who would you rather be, by the way?
I think I'd be the singer Riley Green because I can't sing. I can't play baseball either at that level. But I'd be the country singer Riley Green.
Probably less of a grind.
Seems like you can set your own, because he left us at the Regents Tradition and went down and hung out at the Floribama a couple of nights. By the way, congratulations to the Floribama folks. Did they invent the bushwhacker?
No, I don't think.
They celebrated the 50th anniversary of the bushwhacker.
Probably sold 50,000 of them this weekend.
Down at the Floribama this past weekend. There were good pictures coming from them. Ryan Blaney wins at Nashville. And before we go to break, I don't know about you, but I watched the end of – I didn't see it live. I ended up going back and watching it online. A lot of TikTok, Instagram videos. But Inside the NBA finally called it quits. 34 years on TNT.
TNT.
Did you see him chanting? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really sad if they were busting up that team, but they're just leaving the network. I know there's something nostalgic about it when you hear, the hook coming back in 2 commercial breaks.
The music.
But they're all going to be together, so I don't think it's...
They wouldn't be together still if it wasn't for our buddy Charles Barkley. Because Barkley was the big get out of that.
Yeah.
And at first he was going to go to NBC, and then he realized that he could flex his muscle, keep the show going in Atlanta, keep the production crew, and just have it broadcast on a different network. And Barkley flexed his muscle, and that's what they got. So they'll be on ESPN ABC, broadcasting originating from Atlanta. So it'll still be called Inside the NBA. The only thing that will change is the network you see it on.
Yeah, we are not under the umbrella of the FCC, Federal Communication Commission. TNT is. I know they've got a lot of disclaimers that run, and they can run some late-night stuff, but Shaq dropped the F-bomb, then Kenny dropped the F-bomb. Do you think there's any backlash on that?
I don't think so. I don't know who's manning the wheel at the FCC right now. Yeah.
Same guy at the NCAA?
Maybe.
I was never a fan, and I told Chuck this early on, and not that it mattered. It's like, I don't know why they brought Shaq in. They don't need that big personality. Like 3 men on the desk, you, Jet, Kenny, or Ernie, that's all y'all need. But Shaq there's such a great chemistry between him and Barkley.
That's right. They are such good friends, but they rub each other the wrong way.
Yeah, I love it.
It is absolutely perfect. So a great run, 36 years on TNT. Now, I am worried about ever seeing Kevin Harlan do basketball anymore. He's going to be, after all these years on TNT, he'll be the voice of the NBA on Amazon. Now, NASCAR was on Amazon last night, and I did not watch it, Nashville. I think
they tried to sell me on. I don't know if you popped TV on last night.
Yeah, it's
First
right
thing
there.
that came up was Joey Logano, and it was like, it's live right now, sometime during the day yesterday.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
it didn't get me there.
Me either. And I just wondered, demographic-wise, if that's smart for
NASCAR to be behind a paywall on Amazon.
Probably not. I mean, it
They're
does seem
struggling
like
to get viewers anyway.
Yeah, you remember the heyday of the 80s and 90s in NASCAR. You were covering it for NBC back in the day. And, they couldn't do anything wrong. And then they hit this lull. It seems like they've done a pretty good job of grassroots bringing this thing back a little bit. Yep. The last thing you want to do when you've got momentum is to put it behind a paywall.
Yeah, and now another tier of the NBA will be behind the paywall. That's where you'll get Kevin Harlan. He'll be doing play-by-play there. But our friends at Inside the NBA will be over on ESPN ABC for their 35th year of that show with Ernie and Kenny, and they brought Barkley on later, and now they brought Shaq on, but all four of them staying together. Our buddies at Hemphill, they bring you part of the show today. We'll do trash on the other side. Tell us about Hemphill.
Hey, great dudes. Adam, Chad, Andrew, call them up right now. Make sure that HVAC unit ready to keep up with the changing weather. Whether you experience any of these issues, plumbing, heating, or cooling, trust the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954. Hemphill Services, 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama-born, Alabama-raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. but it's only here for a limited time. So try chicken and Bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
All right, back with you on the next round. Before LT tells you about Dr. B, I'll remind you that Auburn has advanced out of the regionals, and they're on their way to host Coastal Carolina in the Super Regionals. As Butch said earlier in the show, the first time ever in Auburn's program they've been a Super Regional host. I think that started in 1999. So good for Auburn. Arkansas is the overall third national seed. Auburn's the overall fourth national seed. Number 1 Vandy, number 2 Texas eliminated. So there you go.
Oregon got bounced too, right?
Several of the top 8 have been bounced or trying to survive tonight. Oregon State's trying to survive, North Carolina's trying to survive, and LSU's trying to survive all tonight. And also defending national champ Tennessee. There's 6 games today, winner go home, trying to advance out of there. 5 of those involve the SEC tonight. So looking forward to, or 4 of the 6 involve the SEC tonight. Tell us about Dr. B, and then I got the Madden cover. The new Madden cover is out.
Yeah, Dr. B, if you're starting to thin out, it doesn't matter if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It can happen any stage of your life. When it starts to happen, be preemptive if you want to maintain, grow some of that hair back. Dr. Beckenstein is the guy for more than 20 years. Women and men have turned to him for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. 205-319-0316. Tell them the next round sent you. T3hair.net for more information. T3's got that new test, easy, painless, affordable, takes seconds to perform. It's going to show which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. You pick and choose which agents you want. Men and women ordering Hims, other products online, don't even know if they work. Stop wasting your money, your critical time while you're losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come see Dr. Beckenstein and that great staff. Find out what will work for you. 205-319-0316 or T3hair.net.
I'm trying to see what the 79 mile per hour pitch, a 70 mile per hour pitch is equal to a 100 mile per hour in baseball. So her 79, that's got to get me to 110, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I just saw her throw a slider that was 75 missing outside the plate. I do not want to get in there. That fastball there hit 74, so a little off speed there. So she's consistently 74 or more. That's bringing it.
Yeah, and you get the bat on it though, it's going to go.
Yeah, that's true. It's equal to 110 to 112 miles per hour. Grok says there. Am I saying that right? Grok.
Yes, Grok.
Okay.
Can you imagine if you had a guy that could get it up to 110?
It'd be insane. Who is the hardest? Is it Chapman?
Yeah.
Where did he tap out at?
102, I think.
It's insanity. She's a big girl, too.
105.8 thrown by Chapman.
Chapman at 105.8?
Damn, he got it 158?
Yep. In 2010 on September 24th against the Padres.
Wow.
See, I wonder, was that the in-stadium one or a real jugs gun?
Yeah, I don't know. If that hits you in the ribs, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it'll probably go through it. It'll be a through and through, like a drive-by shooting. Here's the new Madden cover before we get to trash. Do we want to be on the Madden cover now? The injury jinx is over?
It's not over, though. I mean, last year on the cover was Christian McCaffrey. He played in 4 games.
Oh, God, but look who's on the cover. It's a great cover, though. That's when Saquon went backwards over that guy, right?
Yes. The last Madden cover it didn't affect, I think, was 2020.
So Saquon Barkley going airborne backwards over to the defender, and that's the cover.
24, you had Josh Allen threw a career high 18 interceptions. 20, that was 24. I know in 2022 you had both Mahomes and Brady. Neither went to a Super Bowl that year. So that would be a Madden curse for both of those guys, right?
Yep.
Gronk was on it one year where he, was lost early in the year. The same with Michael Vick.
Yeah, but there you go, Madden 26. Barkley going airborne reverse. That is the cover of Madden released out today. That gets us to trash.
By the way, I hope they're awful this year.
The Eagles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gets us to trash. You see Bud Light behind us. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Hit it, Tyler.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Oh, yes. I see that you know your judo well. Get your hand off my penis!
LT's Trash is presented by Bud Light.
Brown's not here to say you can do it for him. It's time for Offbeat June holidays.
Oh, is it Offbeat June holidays? I love these, especially when Brown aren't here.
Hey, today is National I Love My Dentist Day and National Leave Work Early Day.
Well, we work a schedule. We leave early a lot.
I can't today. I've got a couple of meetings up here later today. Are you going to be able to play golf today?
I'm not playing golf today. I'm going to play tomorrow. Played on Saturday to where one guy in the group, not one of our regulars, says, man, you guys play golf way too much. And I was like, last time we were inviting this guy.
Wait, so he's playing golf and saying that?
Yeah, because he doesn't play with us all the time, but he was out. He's like, we got back from that golf trip, and you guys played 3 more days after we got back from that golf trip. He went on the golf trip.
I think golfers that never play on weekends are the golfers that play, I don't want to say too much. He never played something too much, right? They play a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those guys, when I used to play a little bit, I never wanted to play on the weekends. I still would, zero chance I'd ever play on a weekend.
It is a lot slower on the weekends. I
would just rather do other things.
I do it to be outside with the weather and the camaraderie, the good times. We have some cocktails, some conversation, listen to music. You know, if I've got something,
I do all that with pool golf.
If I've got something better to do, then I don't do it. But I'll block my Tuesdays off to do it, and I'll do it again tomorrow.
June 4th, National Hug Your Cat Day. Have you ever had a cat?
I don't. I'm allergic. My wife's allergic. My wife's more allergic than I am to cats. Like, we walk into a house that have just been petting cats, and it's a trouble for us. We can't even go into pet stores.
I am going to lean Tyler has had a cat in his life.
I did, but I'm allergic, so I couldn't keep it for very long.
I'm going to lean Forrester. No chance has had a cat.
I do not like cats.
Yeah.
I am also allergic to them. No cats.
You know, that's like if you're in a relationship and you hate cats, can you just say you're allergic? Does that work?
I think it does
like
work.
It's a deal breaker for me either way.
Like, you like cats that much?
No, I dislike cats
Oh, you
that
dislike?
much.
Yeah, I don't. It's physically but I don't understand cats. I really don't. You're not a cat person either, right?
No, it's just coming back to me, though. One of my dreams last night I had about getting a cat.
Wow, it was a dream. A cat with Josh Allen.
Very strange. June 9th, National No Apologies Period Day.
Sort of the way you live. You're unapologetic.
That's not true.
A lot of Americans are that way, I think.
No, I'm not going to apologize for maybe something I believe in.
Right.
But, like, if I'm in the wrong on something, I feel like I've done a better job of saying I'm sorry than I used to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just
don't like confrontation as much.
You're unapologetic for the way you live your life, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I feel like these guys, it's a running joke in the back room. Forrester will give me a hard time when I apologize for, what's an example of what I apologize for? You're like,
It could be anything.
Yeah. Like, I'll walk back there, hey man, I'm sorry that, the show went 40 seconds over today or something.
No, yeah, you are. Like, we'll get done with the show. And look, I think all of us can tell if we're a little off on certain shows, but there's at least, I don't want to say once a week, maybe once every other week where Dunaway's like, man, guys, I'm so sorry I was bad today.
Yeah, I had 2 hours produced well. This last hour sucked. That's on me, man.
Yeah, and then we're like, hey, we didn't know a difference. June 13th.
Which I take then that they suck all the time, Jim.
June 13th, International Axe Throwing Day and National Kitchen Klutzes of America Day.
I thought it was great that those two holidays are on the same day.
I think we're making things up now, Tyler.
I think we are.
Axe throwing. Now, I enjoy it when I do it. We've had some great sponsors that have axe throwing places. And trust me, I don't mind throwing my axe around, but it's not as much fun as it looks on video. Maybe
I liked it
if I was stronger, maybe.
I'm not good at a lot of things, but I was a natural axe thrower where I could do the just one hand and basically put it in the wood every single time. Like, I feel good that I could take an axe right now and put it in Tyler's chest.
From where you're sitting?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, obviously,
There's gonna be a lot of tech issues around here.
Obviously, taking the wall down. I don't think you could.
Oh,
I think you would miss. You'd hit him either.
Ain't only one way to check this thing out.
Yeah, you'd miss high. I'm betting you'd miss high.
I don't know if you remember when we were out at the axe throwing place. I mean, it was wood every time. Boom, boom, boom.
I remember when you were throwing that axe around, it was wood every time.
Yep.
Yes.
And boy, can you imagine getting an axe in the chest? Woody Harrelson got one. We were talking about True Detective Season 1 earlier today, Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, he took one in the chest.
Yeah, you caught that hatchet at the end.
Yeah. The Yellow King. That was a good toss.
Yeah, I don't understand what's the other one, the Kitchen Clumsiness Day or whatever?
Kitchen Klutzes of America Day.
Yeah. That's just being bad in the kitchen?
That's my
Clumsy
dogs.
in the kitchen.
That's Bullet and Chili. June 14th, Monkey Around Day.
It's just out having a good time?
I guess.
Let's go monkey around.
June 20th, National Hike with a Geek Day.
Tyler, what are you doing Tuesday?
I'll be busy.
Yeah.
So, June 21st, is that a Friday?
You should have said, I don't know, Jim, you want to go hiking with me? And then it would have been like, I'm the geek at that point.
Actually, I think the 21st is a Saturday, which this doesn't work out because it's National Take Your Dog to Work Day. So I guess I'll just bring Bullet and Chili up here on Saturday.
Yeah.
You guys won't get to see them.
I would say that's probably the same day every year, and it just happens to be a Saturday this year.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Like all the good holidays.
June 22nd, National Kissing Day. You talk about kissing a lot.
I do like to kiss. I mean, it's
also National Onion Ring Day. Would you rather kiss your wife or eat onion rings?
Again, a bad combination there. Onions and kissing don't go hand in hand. Onion rings are tough for me. Like, I like them crunchy, but I don't like the really small ones. I like the big ones. But the problem is, if they're not cooked perfectly, the onion comes out on your first bite.
Have you had Culver's onion rings?
They're really good.
I love them, but they are small.
Avoid all of those problems.
They're small, right?
Yeah, they're a little smaller, but
they are crunchy, and they're almost
crunchy,
so good.
Almost bite size.
I almost feel like Culver's, it's like you got to go to the cheese curds.
Just because
you can't go wrong either way.
Because you can't get cheese curds anywhere else.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's, a Midwest brand with a Midwest, staple in cheese curds.
But I do love a good onion ring. I do not like fake onion straws. And I don't like sauteed onions, but I do like a good onion ring.
Are you surprised our man Brown, as much as he likes food, doesn't like onions?
He doesn't like onions. He doesn't love ketchup. He doesn't like,
mayonnaise.
There's a lot of things he doesn't like to be as big of a foodie as he is.
Yeah. I don't know if he's really a foodie. I think he's more of just like a barbarian, like steak guy.
I think he just has, his palate has changed over the years. It's just like all of us. His palate has changed over the years. Like I joke with my buddies all the time. I come from a trailer park in Alabaster. I play my best golf on the better courses. The worst courses, I play worse golf. And I was raised on bad courses. But inevitably, like, we went on this golf trip, and the best round I played was at the most expensive course. The second best round I played was at the second most expensive. The worst round I played was on the cheapest course.
See, I feel like I play better when I play with better people.
These were all the same group, and I made the point to them that they were like, "Man, you killed it today," and I was like, "Well, we were on the best course," and they were like, "Oh, Jimmy Trailer Park, the Maggie Ridge or whatever we played was two."
So watch out next time you play Shoal.
To Trailer Park. I'm ready to play Shoal again. Look forward to that.
And finally, June 28th, we're doing Offbeat June holidays here on Trash. Drive your Corvette to Work Day and also National Food Truck Day. I love food trucks.
Food trucks are great.
Yeah. We used to, the company that managed this property used to have food trucks that would come up all the time.
Our first year.
We need to get back to that.
That was the first year. That's when Lunsford and I went down and bought him lunch. I'm going to buy you lunch.
Was this the lobster truck?
Yeah.
Yep. I've heard this story.
Bought a lobster roll and a bisque as a side because I figured like lobster rolls are really small, and I'd seen one person walk and they were small, and I think it was $30, $32 a head for just a small cup of bisque and a small little lobster roll. $32 a person.
Everything's expensive now.
Wrong time to volunteer to buy somebody lunch.
Food trucks, they'll either be dirt cheap or incredibly expensive for
These
what you get.
taco trucks up $280. I mean, if I'm in the car, EG will say, man, that one's really good. My buddy Mike Kennedy. Have you tried the tacos there? They're fantastic.
Yeah, those taco trucks are really good.
Everyone just
the
raves
gas station
about
parking lot.
Everybody just raves about them. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of Mexican, though, me and Jack went for Mexican Friday night. He had 4 tacos. I had 2 tacos, a medium queso. He had a regular drink. I had 2 small margaritas. What do you think it was? So that's 6 tacos and a cheese dip and basically 2 margaritas.
Okay, hold on.
Because Mexican used to be really cheap.
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't a terrible price point, but I was like, damn, everything's gotten really expensive.
I'm going to say 72.
It was 53.
Yeah, with tip. I was going 72 with tip.
We have got police searching for the Florida man who stuffed a $650 ferret into the front of his shorts.
By the way, I did Mexican Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, too. Like, I did it 3 days.
Yeah.
I even thought of you yesterday when we went there after church. I was like, this would have been an LT menu weekend, Mexican every day.
I'll tell you what I'm doing too much of is burgers now. And I know there's people out there, you can't do too many burgers. I used to do 1 burger a week, but I'm probably 2 or 3 now.
Yeah.
So this dude right here stuffed a $650 ferret into the front of his shorts and smuggled the weasel out of a store.
I mean, who hasn't?
Yeah.
Look at this dude.
I mean, that one on the far right. I mean, he's walking out, and all the ladies are turning their heads.
I mean, all you could think about is the weasel taking a snip, right?
Yep.
Security cameras captured the suspect as he, quote, browsed the ferret section of the store and fondles the ferret for some quiet time before shoving the ferret into his shorts and departing Petland, the name of the store in Jacksonville, Florida. As he left the business, the man, seen right there, held the crotch area of his shorts to support the ferret as he walks past all points of sale without paying.
So he walks out, and everybody's like, look at that guy. He really loved that pet store, didn't he?
Now, while the automated facial recognition system failed to identify the suspect, the clear surveillance images will likely result in the apprehension of this guy, but it hasn't happened yet.
Well,
Is that a real goatee?
Yeah, take the mustache off, and I bet it'll be able to identify him.
That's Shia LaBeouf.
It does kind of look
The
like
eyes,
Shia LaBeouf.
yeah.
Mixed with John Bernthal from Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay.
He had that same mustache.
Looks a little bit like he'd play center for Dusty May, too.
Who was he in Wolf of Wall Street? Brad?
Yeah.
So we got a woman wanted on a homicide warrant out of Lancaster County, pretended to be her sister when she was also arrested in York, according to police. Now, suspect's sister was also wanted, but on a lesser charge of felony retail theft. Police brought Kenda Hess, 39 years old, was stopped in York on May 21st around 3 a.m.
Can I give you my impersonation of what her voice sounds like first?
Gosh.
My precious. My precious.
That's what I was thinking, too. Yeah.
Like, how long do you have to not wash your hair for it to look like that? This has got to be weeks, right?
Ooh. Yeah.
I mean, really, she
it's
should,
all matted.
She should shave the head and go to Comic-Cons everywhere.
I mean, I've never smelled a decomposing body, but this is kind of the vibe she gives off a little bit. Now, they pulled her over at 3 a.m. Kenda told York police officers that her name was Cody Hess, who's her sister. Officers took Hess into custody on the outstanding warrant for the felony retail theft, then processed her at York County Prison. Police say Kenda Hess continually identified herself as Cody Hess, but after they investigated, they correctly identified her as Kenda. She is now being detained under her proper name. The U.S. Marshal Fugitive Task Force and Lancaster County Sheriff's Department will be transferring her on homicide, drug delivery resulting in a death charge. I don't have the details of this, but it's pretty bad when your sister's wanted on a felony and you're pretending to be that just because you don't want to get booked on your own charges. And by the way, my voice is about to run out. I don't know if you can tell. I'm on fumes now.
That's good. We got 8 minutes.
Yeah.
We may not make it 8 minutes. We may come up full short.
You're going to love this one, Dunaway. A Modesto man is accused of breaking into a woman's house, then biting and licking her toes while she slept, according to authorities.
I don't like it. I mean, unless you put her up and she's hot and unbelievable feet, then that would turn me on. But just the random feet.
Sydney Sweeney's feet you're staying away from?
Unbelievable feet. What does an unbelievable foot look like?
Well,
I've always been curious
Well,
when
if
you say stuff
you know
like
it when you see it. I'll let you know when we see one.
So Christian Angawano Allegedly began stalking the woman at her job in February, though other employees at the business confronted Aguano on multiple occasions. Investigators said his behavior escalated to the point where he would follow the woman home after her shifts, sleep in his car outside of her house. Now, on the night of the incident, he allegedly put the woman's toes in his mouth. He is accused of trying to get into bed with her as well. Victim was able to push him off, retrieve her phone to call 911. He fled the scene but was located near the woman's home the next day and taken into custody. I want to put this guy on the island because this is a gateway to something bad that's really going to happen.
I mean, you're stalking, man. You're camping out. You're living in the car outside.
I feel like he's already over halfway there with the whole stalking and breaking in.
Yeah. This guy is not going to contribute to society at all. We got an update here on the Florida duck that terrorized the neighborhood.
Oh, I remember
last
this.
week.
The black duck, right?
Yep. The Muscovy duck, reportedly harassing residents in Cape Coral neighborhood, has been safely captured, relocated to an animal sanctuary in Ocala. Now, the duck named Jimmy was taken in by Remarkable Rescues after gaining the viral attention on social media for its aggressive behavior. Now, they estimate Jimmy is 3 to 4 months old, likely hand-raised. Remains unclear who originally raised or released the duck into the neighborhood. Officials have not confirmed whether other aggressive ducks remain in the area, but they've got him, and he is going to be in the sanctuary now.
That is one more?
That's it.
That is Trash Today. Sound like your voice was done.
Yeah.
Trash Today brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Sounds like Brownie will be back tomorrow, and LT will be struggling. Maybe he'll be here just hanging out, not being able to talk. Hope the voice gets better. Here are some, we mentioned earlier, the sports science passing, the sad passing of John Brinkus, and after a long battle with depression, and according to some reports, a battle with alcohol, dies at the age of 54 over the weekend. And we were talking about some great segments from sports science. Of the best segments according to ranker of sports science ever, Ndamukong Suh's testing, Suh's impressive athletic abilities including speed, acceleration, and power, Marshawn Lynch's beast mode, his powerful running style, and the science behind his physicality. I remember this one now. This one was interesting to me. The physics of baseball collisions, of the speed of the pitcher's pitch, and then your bat the acceleration of your bat speed.
Oh, I thought you were going runner to catcher.
No.
I don't know if you saw the one in Oregon the other night.
That was a bad call. What was that guy was supposed to do? You're talking about ruling the guy out?
Yep.
I mean, he didn't lower his shoulder, and he put his hands up to sort of stop. He's sliding into the plate. That wasn't
I think
that wasn't him rolling the guy.
We knee-jerk to everything. It goes back to Buster Posey.
Yep.
The bad injury at the plate, and now everything is, different when it comes to that was one of the more exciting plays in all of baseball, if not the most exciting play.
Yeah. Because back in the day, you could lower your shoulder and run the guy over if he's in your base path.
Yeah, we all remember Pete Rose and Ray Fosse, right?
That was 1970 or 71, somewhere around there, but it's an iconic baseball play. The kid from Oregon was basically going into a slide, and the guy came up, and he even has his hands out like that. That was a horrible call, in my opinion. The physics of baseball collision is the pitcher throwing it 98, and then bat speed, what all happens to transfer that power from the bat to the baseball to get it to go out. I remember watching that one. It was very interesting. Tariq Hill's speed, analyze Hill's incredible speed and acceleration and using different ways to quantify his performance. We talked about Ray Lewis. The skill set of Giannis, the Greek Freak, was one.
Did they ever do the punching power of a heavyweight?
Yeah, it seems like they did, didn't they? It's not listed here. The other ones were Dirk's skills, Aroldis Chapman's velocity of his pitch, and then free throw line dunks, what it takes to dunk from the free throw line, how fast you have to be running, and your jumping ability to actually leave the air from the free throw line. It does seem like that was one at one point, right? The Mike Tyson punch or something?
One of the biggest Cold War movies in history, Rocky IV, right? When Drago, they were testing his punching power.
Yeah. I'm going to miss those. I'm going to miss those sports sciences. They'd gone away. He had sold the company, and a lot of people say that's when he started to slip into the depression, was after he sold the company that created and was behind sports science. But he will be missed there. The World Series continues in Oklahoma City for the women. Still Tennessee, Texas tied 0-0, but the Longhorns trying to break this open with bases loaded there. Texas only needs one win, and they are off to the finals, so there'll be one SEC team at least. Oklahoma tries to make it two SEC teams against Texas Tech later tonight. Congratulations to Auburn. This weekend they'll battle Coastal Carolina to make it to the College World Series in a best-of-3 series coming up. And we look forward to talking more football tomorrow. Auburn was our team today at number 27. Our final question today was from Kyle Rush. If I asked you the position you're most confident in other than wide receiver for Auburn, what is it? Auburn's wide receiver room, one of the best in the country. That's easy. After that, the position you're most confident in is?
And maybe it's a secondary. I think most people would say secondary.
Secondary's mine. Pretty good little secondary. We're in the state where Alabama and Auburn secondary should be pretty good.
If Jackson Arnold is the player out of high school that a lot of people projected him to be, I mean, would you be shocked if Auburn is this year's Tennessee going 10-2 in the SEC?
There are a lot of people wanting to be this year's Tennessee and this year's Indiana.
Yeah, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon because I feel like I jinxed Auburn last year.
So you're not going to do it this year?
No, I mean, they're going to be improved. They have to be improved.
That's our show today. We're back with you tomorrow. Don't forget the Meltdown today at 2 live, 2 Central Time on our platforms. And then, of course, the Bennett Grace returns tomorrow. But for Brownie, who's back tomorrow, LT, Jim, and everyone else, that's our next round today. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.